They gonna doubt you if you let them. Like, who's to tell you that the Most High ain't gonna forgive you for what you done did? And that's another thing where we overstep the boundaries of doing His job. How can we do His job and we ain't done our job? It don't make no sense. So I think as brothers and sisters, Ox and Aquas, we should be more encouraging to each other, friendships, marriages as well. You know, you could tell somebody, "Oh, don't do this, don't do that." Oh, I leave them. But then again, you in the same situation and you burning. If you're not a weed, he gon' tear you apart. So be careful what you say, can mix light in the dark. A wise man slow to speak, but he still will at heart. A wise man slow to anger, refraining from dark. I don't want no Grammy now, I got kingdom at heart. I done lied so much times I got holes in my heart. Yeah, I done cried so much times I get headaches from coughs. And I done died so much times I perish at the thought. Pride is a way of evil, don't settle for sin. So put your pride to the side, let it blow in the wind. So keep your eyes on the prize, you gon' soar it again. So keep your eyes on the side, you can surf through the sin. Everybody doubted you, they gon' cheer when you win. Everybody shot at you, they gon' cheer for the win. Everybody laughed at you, you was running from sin. Everybody doubted you, they ain't trusting a friend. Everybody young and dumb, but who changed in their life? Everybody put in work, but who sacrificed? Everybody waking up, but who living their life? If you ain't rocking with the God, you ain't living it right. Oh, you ain't living it right. If you ain't rocking with your own, ain't living it right. If you ain't rocking with the God, ain't living it right. If you ain't rocking with God, ain't living it right. Oh.
All right, shalom, shalom, family. Welcome back to World Without End. It is your brother Will, son of Yah, coming at you today. And today we have a few more brothers tuning in with us today to build with us. And I'm gonna let everyone introduce themselves. We was having a little bit of technical difficulties on the introduction, but with all that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get started today.
What's going on, everybody? Shalom to everybody. It's gonna be a good topic we're gonna cover.
Facts. Salama. Tochuku. You know what I'm saying? Here with Son of Yah, Will, Kefa, and Tanzania, if you want to introduce yourself.
No, he dropped out. I think he'll go come back in.
Tanzania?
Oh, I'm thinking Tazarat. Yeah, bro. What's going on, bro? First time on here.
Yeah.
Facts. So yeah, tonight we're going into something a little different than we usually do. We're going into the topic is called "Where is your faith?" And the reason we picked that is not like where is your faith as in do you have it or not. We believe if you're tuning into our channel, we believe if you are aware that we are the Israelites, you have faith. So the thing about it is, it's not where is your faith, it's actually where is your faith. Because in these last days, in these days, we feel that you need to build up your faith according to scripture.
Yep.
And we're going to actually explain that throughout scriptures. some of us will give examples and define what faith is. Others will um, go into how to obtain faith and how to show. I mean, to basically see where faith is. Just basically out in the scriptures and ways that you can strengthen and keep to maintain faith. That's another thing. Enduring. So
Yeah,
yeah,
especially in the times we're living in, because a lot of people's faith is gonna be tested. You don't know how strong your faith is until you're tested.
Facts. So right now, the brother Taza Roth, he was supposed to go live. He was supposed to be first. He dropped out real quick, maybe some technical difficulties. So while I get on the line with him to figure out what that problem is about, Kefa, because you was up next, if you want to just go ahead on and if you want to even pull out maybe a couple of his scripts, just to at least the definition one, which was Hebrews 11 and 1. If you want to just read that to define. Oh, he's backstage. He said, "Okay, hold on.
Okay, yeah.
Can you see that? Let me see. Okay, I got him right here. All right, Tazarov, come in.
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah, you good, bro? Are you good? Can you hear us? Can you hear us, bro? Oh, he's okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's still
You hear us
trying
now?
to
You
get
can hear us
connected.
though? Oh yeah.
No, he can't
All
hear.
right, so that's cool.
Yeah,
Until we
YouTube
get
playing with us today, bro.
the brother back. Until we get the brother back in, Keffa, you go ahead if you want to read that Hebrews 11 and 1, and then from there you can go into just to define it, and then you can go into whatever else you had, and then when he comes back in, he can give us his examples and all that.
All right, I'm gonna share my screen. So let me see if it will actually let me share my screen. All right, no, it won't let me. All right, so I'm just gonna read Hebrews 11 verse 1 to get the definition of faith. So verse 1 it says, "Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen." That's the whole definition of faith. Something that you're hoping for or believing in, but you can't see it. A lot of people, when you really look at certain situations, a lot of people don't really have faith because a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I won't believe until I see it." That's no faith right there. But here, according to scriptures, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It's hoping something. We all have faith, and that ties in with Revelations 14:12, when we have to have faith in the Messiah, because we do believe that the Messiah is going to come. We don't know when, but we do believe that it is going to happen. He is going to come and gather his people from the four corners, and he's going to establish his kingdom on earth. And there's going to be peace on earth. That's the faith that we have in through the Messiah. The thing that I want to get to, I just want to read just the chapter of Hebrews 11, because it gives multiple examples of, our forefathers, foremothers who displayed faith. And so I'm gonna start from verse 3. So Hebrews 11 verse 3, it says, "Through faith we understand that the words were framed by the word of Yah, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. By faith Abel offered unto Yah a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, Yah testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh." Verse 5, "By faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because Yah has translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony that he pleased the Most High." Verse 6, "But without faith it is impossible to please him, for he that cometh to Yah must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him." So without faith, there's no way you can please the Most High. The Most High, he's looking for your faith. He's looking how strong your faith is. Faith without works is dead. As we keep on reading Hebrews 11, we'll see how our ancestors display faith through actions as well, because it goes both sides. It goes both ways. You can't have faith and you can't act upon that faith. because that's the whole purpose of faith, is acting upon something that you know that this outcome is going to come out as the Most High told you to, and as you believe it will come out to. And so verse 7 gives a clear example of faith without works is dead. It says, verse 7, it says, by faith, Noah, being warned of Yah of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by which he condemned the world and became heir of a righteous with this by faith. So Noah, through actions, through the faith he had to the Most High, he prepared a boat. And if those that don't know the story of Noah, him, and I believe it was Methuselah at that time, was telling people to repent. The Most High was giving mankind 120 years to repent. During those 120 years to repent, Noah was building the ark. Now, since wickedness was high during that time, people were looking at Noah and calling him crazy. Like, this man's building a boat. It hasn't rained in years. Why is he building a boat? They were laughing at him. But Noah, through his faith, was not moved by the negative reactions that he was getting from others. He believed what the Most High said. He acted upon it, and he went through with it. And he ended up saving his whole family. And in verse 8, it goes into Abraham. It says, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing where he went. Another faith without works is dead. Abraham acted upon faith. He left his place of origin and went to a land, didn't even know where he was going. But through faith, he knew that the Most High was bringing him to a place of great substance and inheritance, a land that Yah promised him. So that's another example of acting upon faith. You can't have faith and do nothing. The Most High doesn't work like that. You can't doubt. The Most High doesn't like people who doubt. It's impossible to please the Most High without faith. And it's impossible to have faith if you don't act upon that faith. In verse 9, it goes on to say, by faith he sojourned. So this is still talking about Abraham. It says, by faith he sojourned in a land of promise, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promise. For he looked for a city which had foundation, whose builder and maker is Yah. Through faith also Sarah. So now we're looking to the faith of our foremothers. Sarah herself received strength and conceived a seed, and was delivered of a child when she was past age, because she judged him faithfully who had promised. So right here, Sarah, she didn't bear any children. She only had one child, and that was at the age of 99. Imagine how much faith you had to have I'm pretty sure I know Abraham and Sarah were trying for many years. And all those years, no children. But yet she still had faith because she remembered the promise that the Most High gave to her, that she will bear a son. And that son will, be the forefront of a mighty nation one day. It's been 99 years. She still has no child, yet she still has faith. And then because of that little ounce of faith that she had, because the Bible says if you even have faith as a mustard seed, that's all the Most High needs. And that's still a lot of faith, because a mustard seed can grow to a big, mighty tree. And we see here that Sarah's faith, she was blessed with a child, and that child was Isaac. And Isaac, bare Jacob and Esau. Jacob, is the patriarch of the 12 tribes of Israel, a mighty nation. So we see today we are the descendants of, Sarah, because of her faith. She is now the grandmother, the great grandmother of a mighty and, a mighty nation, right? So verse 12, it goes on to say, therefore sprang there even of one. So this is still talking about Sarah. Therefore sprang there even of one, of him as good as dead. So many as the stars of the sky in the multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore innumerable. These all died in faith. And that's the key word. These all died in faith. Not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, embraced them, and confessed that They were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. The key word in verse 13, these all died in faith, not receiving the promise, but having seen them far off. That ties back into verse 1 in this chapter, when it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things which are not seen. We see in verse 13, Abraham, Sarah, they died in faith, not having received the promises, but have seen them afar off. So even they died and they haven't received the promise, they knew that that promise will come to pass, even though they haven't seen it. That's faith. A lot of our people today, I don't know, well, that's the type of faith we must have, because, there's a lot of people going around saying that the Messiah is coming in X amount of years, the end is coming real soon. That right there, you're not truly building up your faith, because what if, we're still here 5 years from now, but you heard someone said that the Messiah is coming 5 years from now. You're not really building up your faith. And that ties in with enduring, because we have to endure the things to come, having faith that we will receive the promise, which is everlasting life. The Bible talks about he that endures to the end shall be saved. Endure until death and you will receive a crown of life. The crown of life is everlasting life. That is something that we have not seen, but we have faith and hope for, of seeing that as, afar off or a time to come. That's the type of faith we must have. If we're basing our faith on a time frame, and I'm talking for the times we're living in and for the generation after us, if we're basing our faith on a time frame, you're not truly building up your faith, because you're putting more faith on what someone said of the Messiah coming in X amount of years, but it doesn't happen on that time. Like, a lot of people thought that the Messiah was coming in the year 2000. The early camps, whatever, they talked about how the Messiah was coming in the year 2000. It's the end of America. And look, we in 2022, we're still here. You know how many people, after when they heard that message, they were excited. And it's 2001, they're still here. It's 2002, they're still here. They didn't have the faith. And they didn't even build up the strength to endure the years ahead. So a lot of people left the faith because of that. They didn't have that solid faith that Yah is looking for, in him to endure, the trials and tribulations that's to come. We need to have that type of faith to know that no matter what happens, we're still going to receive the promise, of everlasting life. We're still going to see the salvation, whether it's in our generation, the next generation, or the generation after. We have to believe and know and have faith that what this word prophesied many years ago that's going to happen in the future will come to pass. That's having faith, something that is a substance that is not seen, but you still believe in it. And so in verse 14, it goes on to say, for they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had the opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country, that is, in heavenly, wherefore Yah is not ashamed to be called their power, but he had prepared for them a city. By faith, when he was tried, that's another key word right here, tried. And tried means tested, right? Because we're going to read here. By faith, when he was tried, when Abraham was tried, offered up Isaac, and he that had received the promises offer up his only begotten son, of whom it was said that in Isaac shall thy seed be called.
Yeah.
Accounting that Yah was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence he has also received him in a figure. That right there, being tried, Abraham's faith was really tested. He only had one son. Yah told him to kill your only son. After when Yah said that your son, through Isaac, your seed shall be called. Right?
Right.
But Yah is now saying, take your son Isaac and go kill him. Abraham didn't even question it. He went ahead and did it. That's faith with faith, acting upon that faith, right? That's the type of faith we need to have, because Isaac was promised a son. He only had one son, and the Most High is telling him to sacrifice your only son, right? No questions asked. He went ahead and he was in the process of doing it. In verse 18, it says, of whom it was said that in Isaac that seed shall be called, accounting that Yah was able to raise him up even from the dead, from whence also he received him in a figure. By faith, Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come. So if you haven't, if any of you watching this haven't read the account of, Abraham and Isaac, I really encourage y'all to read that. But it's a really powerful story, and it gives a good example of faith, because we see Abraham, he's putting all his trust in the Most High, and he even question it. He just knows that wherever the Most High says, he knows it's for his glory. So he went ahead and he was on the act that did it. Most High saw how strong his faith was, and the angel appeared to the Most High. An angel appeared to Abraham and told Abraham, I see where your faith is. And the Most High provided a lamb in Isaac's place to make a sacrifice. But that just shows the display of faith. That's the type of faith we need to have, especially in the times that we're going into. So I'm going to stop right there for now to let the other brothers speak. And I probably will just add on to that. But that's pretty much the introduction and where we're heading to in this lesson. It's just to show the examples of faith, how strong your faith has to be, and will you still have the same faith when you're tested? Because it's easy to have faith when everything is easy. But when Abraham was tried, meaning tested, the Most High really wanted to know where his faith was lying in. And so that's the type of faith we need to have, is when the Most High sends tribulations, when he sends any hardship towards us, will we still have the same faith in him if things were good? So.
All facts. That was beautiful too. And just to clarify, the brothers, when he said Isaac had talk about his only son, he was saying his only son, as far as not Ishmael was his first son, but he was saying his only as far as his favorite. So that was one thing to get clear. I know me and you talked about that, so other people may have took that the wrong way. But all right, cool. So Tazaraf, you back. So we read Hebrews 11:1. So to define it, and we know that was yours. But if you want to either bring it back in, you can do that, and then move forward from there with your rest of your scriptures, and I'll share screen. But again, this is about where is your faith, and we're bringing these things out to show examples of that, define it, and show how to obtain it, and also maintain it. So you got the floor, bro.
All right, salam everybody. So the first question I wanted to start off with was, what is faith? And how to break it down, what it means to have faith, what it means to be filled with faith, what it means to be on one accord with faith. So, of course, Hebrews 11:1, I wanted to go ahead and reiterate that. Facts. And now it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. So how I initially wanted to start it off, and Peter had brought it out, was Genesis chapter 22. It was Genesis chapter 22. Verse 1, yeah. No, 22. 22. Right. That's perfect. So this Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1. Was it verse 1? Son on his receive. Right. We had read the whole thing. Okay. So this Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1. And it came to pass after these things that God did tempt Abraham, and said unto him, Abraham, and he said, behold, here I am. And he said, take now thy son, thine only son Isaac, whom thou lovest, and get thee into the land of Moriah, and offer him therefore a burnt offering upon one of the mountains, which I will tell thee of. And Abraham rose up early in the morning and saddled his ass and took two of his young men with him, and Isaac his son, and clave the wood for the burnt offering, and rose up, and he went unto the place of which God had told him. Then on the third day Abraham lifted up his eyes and saw the place afar off. And Abraham said unto his young men, abide ye here with the ass, and I and the lad will go yonder and worship, and come again to you. And Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and laid it upon Isaac his son. And he took the fire in his hand and a knife, and they went both of them together. And Isaac spake unto Abraham his father and said, my father. And he said, here am I, my son. And he said, behold, the fire and the wood, but where is the lamb for a burnt offering? And Abraham said, my son, God will provide himself a lamb. Oh. Yeah, and it said, God will provide himself a lamb for a burnt offering. So they went both of them together. Verse 9. And they came to the place which God hath told him of. And Abraham built an altar there, and laid the wood in order, and bound Isaac his son, and laid him on the altar upon wood. And Abraham stretched forth his hand, and took the knife to slay his son. And the angel of the Lord called unto him out of heaven, and said, Abraham, Abraham. And he said, here am I. I just wanted to stop right there, verse 11, and go into it, because now let's picture this. How I broke it down was like, you and your wife, y'all have one car, y'all share a car, and this is how both y'all operate in this modern world. So it's like a voice come to you. Now we know it's two voices. The underworld, well, I say the tempter on the earth, and then the Father which is in heaven. And we know that the tempter that's on earth, he operates out of many different voices, which is demons. And then it's the Most High who speaks to his angels and, through himself. So it's like Abraham have to have a certain amount of faith that he hears a voice and he just like, dang, this is the voice of the Lord, like telling me to go kill my son. Like he didn't give him nothing else. He just said, hey, go kill your son. I want you to make him a sacrifice to me. That was the clear directions that was given straight to Abraham, and Abraham saddled his ass, got everything prepared, and he just went to that place. Now, as Abraham is there and he's finna do this is when the Most High tells him, like, hold on. I see your faith. I feel it within you that you were able to get up, come way over, travel, not only just go to this place, but travel this amount of distance to come here, prepare an altar to slay your own son on, just to please me. I go back to the car. You get your wife, you get in the car, and you take it to his place, and you get there like, yeah, I'm finna blow our car up, and we're gonna figure out how to get from here to here by walking. She looking at you like you crazy. Everybody looking at you like you crazy, but you heard his voice from up above to tell you to destroy this, and this is what you acting on. So you pouring the gasoline on the car, and you hear the Father say, hey, that's it. I see what you did. Even after that, everybody gonna look at you like you're crazy, but it's the faith that's within, that Abraham had. He had so much faith inside of him that when the Most High spoke to him, he automatically knew this is the word of the Lord, and he acted on that.
And he got rewarded too. That's what
Right.
the Most High looks for. He will reward you for your faith.
Mm-hmm. Christ. That was it on Genesis chapter 22. But that's the old. That's a scripture from the Old Testament. This account was in the Old Testament. So faith is not a new thing. It always was. It always have been. So we're gonna go into Mark 5:30, and we dealing with the Christ.
You see it on is on screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right, this is
I can take this over if you want me to. It's up to you.
you said what up?
I was saying I could take this over if you want me to. It's up to you. You could just break it down.
Yeah, that'd be helpful.
All right. It says, and the Messiah immediately knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him,
Oh,
turned
my bad. I apologize. Go up a little more. Let me see. We started at like
him.
25. Let's say 25.
All right. It says, and a certain woman which had an issue of blood 12 years,
Mhm.
26, and suffered many things of many physicians, and had spent all that she had, and was nothing bettered, but
Right.
rather grew worse. And then it says in verse 27, and when she had heard of Yesu, came into the press between and touched his garment.
But Pete, it said when she heard, didn't Abraham hear that same thing and was gravitating towards it? He acted as soon as he heard it.
Right.
This woman, she was bloody for 12 years. That's
It's a long
imagine
time.
like how the Father made it for women to have at least a week. This woman has been like this for 12 years straight.
Constantly. No break.
No break, just a flowing puddle of blood. And it says right here, she has so much faith. She was like, I'm gonna trust this physician. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go to all these different doctors to see if they can cure me, but they couldn't cure her. And as I go down, I may explain why they couldn't cure her. So she heard of this man, which is the Messiah, and she came and she pressed behind him and she touched his garment. So we go back to Hebrews chapter. You don't got to go there. You just leave right here. Hebrews 11:1. It said, faith is the substance of things that are hoped for, but it is the evidence of things not seen. So you can't see love, you can't see the spirit, but you can feel it. You know what I'm saying? You can feel these things. It's the same with faith. It's the substance that was in her when she touched him, and he felt it. Because as we continue, matter of fact, continue. I'm gonna explain it. Go a little more down. 28. Say, for she said, if I may touch but his clothes, I shall be whole. So not even, oh man, he got to put his hands on me, or I gotta touch him physically, or some type of touching. Got to be involved in this, as in a physical touch. She like, nah, I got so much faith within myself, and I know this man is Christ. If I could touch a slight piece of his clothes, I'll be healed. And this is how it worked, because she had faith running through her veins. He had faith running through his veins. He had so much faith in him, it was dripping off of him onto his clothes. And she knew that in the spirit. She knew, man, if I only could touch his clothes, that'd be that. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't necessarily think on our own. It was the Most High that told her in the first place to even have so much enough faith in her to go touch just his clothes, and you'll be healed. You know what I'm saying? Like, she could have been nervous and didn't have faith and say, you know what,
Had doubt.
Touch me. He got to heal me himself. She said, nah, if I could just touch that man's clothes, I know. And when he touched her clothes, when she touched his clothes, this is what happened. Verse 29. It's saying, straightway, the fountain of her blood was dried up, and she felt in her body that she was healed of the plague. Nobody there said, oh, this woman is healed. Christ didn't even turn around yet and say, you are healed. She knew in herself. That's why I said faith is it's something running in us. It's an actual chemical that's within us. Like, no, you can't go buy it nowhere. It's something that's built up and given by him. But when she touched him, his faith met her faith, and it was an I don't want to say explosion, but it was an effect. I'm gonna say that it was an effect, and she felt like, whoa, I'm healed. She knew I'm healed. My blood is gone. You know what I'm saying? And it says right here.
Before you move on, Salaki, I want to just add, and it also seems like faith is a gift also, because everybody doesn't have it.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so it's also a gift. But for those, like you said, when it reacts, then or when it's triggered, I would say,
Right.
then yeah, for those who it would seem like something that's in us as a chemical, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You know, so
Right.
something that's in us. But yeah, definitely it seems like a gift, you know, because everybody doesn't have faith, and we can see that throughout the scriptures.
Right.
So yeah, you got it.
And when I say like faith being a chemical, I don't mean like, you know, you could draw it out your body and put it in a cup and then let somebody else drink it and then they
Right,
feel
right.
up. No,
Facts.
it's a spiritual gift. Like the spirit itself is an actual thing. You know what I'm saying? So faith, love, all of these things operate through the spirit. That's how first we serve the Father in our spirit. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Because like it says, it's something that's not seen but hoped for. She didn't see him healing her. She hoped that me touching this man is going to heal me. And not only did she hope, she believed.
Mhm.
So it was so. Verse 30, it say, and Christ immediately, knowing in himself that virtue had gone out of him. So when she touched him, the amount of faith that she had in him, it literally sent a signal through his body that let him know some of my virtue just went into another person. But he knows like this is not just an average person. This is somebody that have some of what I have. So it said, he turned him about in the press and said, "Who touched my clothes?" And his disciples said unto him, "Thou seest the multitude thronging thee, and thou sayest, Who touched me?" So they can't even they're not even aware enough to. Okay, that's a good example right there. I take that back. All these people touching him, rubbing up against him, doing all this, to where the disciples like, "Yo, all these people are touching you," but he felt a specific amount of faith in a specific person that it sent a shockwave in his body, and nobody else understood what was going on except for him and the woman.
Right.
I was what did I go to after that? Boom, boom, boom. Wicked in adultery. Matthew chapter 17. Matthew chapter 17, because as I'm basically trying to explain what faith is, we gotta also see that, like the Ox said, matter of fact, he said it's not that we don't have faith, because when we was created in his image, in his image. He had faith in himself. So we got portions of what he have in him. These things have to be activated and they have to grow. So where is your faith? Not do you have faith, but like where is it ranked at? Where you at
Right.
with it right now on your spiritual journey? You know, where is it? So this is
Right.
more so encouragement and an acknowledgement of the things that we have in ourselves. So go to like go up a little bit. Let me see. No, yeah, right. Disciples stood when John Baptist certain Lord have mercy. We can start at I'm gonna start at 14.
14. I'm
Yeah,
sorry for
14. Lord saying, Lord have mercy. Yeah. Um this is Mark, no, this is Matthew chapter 17, verse 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he is lunatic and sore vexed. For oft times he falleth into the fire, and oft times into the water. And I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him.
Mm.
And Christ answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. Now, before this, the disciples was healing everyone that they could. Even after this, they were healing everyone and anyone that came that needed to be healed that matched the faith that they had, or that matched any type of faith to make it be so. So right here, what's going on is just like, hold on, I'm coming to you now, the master of the disciples, and I'm asking you for my son that they couldn't do this. I need you to do it. And the Messiah said, "Oh, faithless and
Perverse.
perverse
verse.
generation." What does he mean by faithless? he's saying like he's not saying that we don't have faith or that generation didn't have no faith at all. What he is saying is their faith didn't match the faith that it needed to be at in order to heal this man's son. So, oh, faithful generation. How long shall I be with you? He's questioning the fact of how long am I going to have to continue to show you examples of how to operate in faith and operate in these ways before I leave? Because once the Messiah left, the disciples was healing continuously like it wasn't nothing, like it was a normal thing. All of these things were just examples on to prepare them to how to operate in faith for when he had left the earth. That way, when we read this ourselves, we could see, oh, okay, this is how we operate in faith, and this is what faith is. So that was
The faith can also be measured by how extreme the circumstances are, because
right.
the disciples were healing people. They were healing the blind, people that couldn't walk. But once they seen this boy who was, in modern terms, schizophrenic, but right here this man was demon possessed. He was jumping through fire. He was jumping in water. Disciples, oh, this one's different. This one's too big. I don't know if we'd be able to heal this one.
Right.
That's why it didn't work. So the father had to take his son to the source, the Messiah. And that's what the Messiah said that. And that also tests your faith, because, again, people can have faith in something small, like, like take it for sports, for example. You playing a team that has been losing 9 games in a row, right? Your team is undefeated. Oh, you have faith you go win. That's easy. But imagine going up to the number 1 team in the nation.
Division, right.
Then you're going to have people in your team doubting, like, I don't know if we're going to beat these people. That's no faith at all.
Right.
Your faith is tested through persecution. Your faith is tested through trials and tribulations. And your faith is tested by how big that obstacle is. No matter what, we should always have the same level of faith, if not higher, in order to overcome the obstacles that we are faced on a day-to-day basis.
That was very fire. I'm gonna just be real. I needed to hear that myself, bro. That was fire.
Yeah.
That was very fire. Yeah.
And that's why the Messiah had used a mountain.
Right.
He said you must. All you need is the faith of a mustard seed to move a mountain. He didn't say to lift up a rock. He said a mountain.
Right.
This is something that's gigantic. You know, that's telling you that the obstacles is going to be big. Mm-hmm. That's when your faith is truly going to be challenged, when the obstacles are big, because like we just seen, the disciples were within themselves. That was like, dang, he all types of messed up. How can we do this? They already doubted themselves. The enemy of faith is doubt. So if you have doubt, your faith shrinks. The less doubt that you have, the more you increase in faith.
Mm-hmm. That's what the Israelites had in the wilderness. They didn't have faith. They were murmuring, complaining. They said Moses brought us out here to die. They didn't have faith at all. That's why Yah was very angry with them all throughout, the 40 years when it was supposed to be like a 3-day journey. But they didn't have faith. Moses wasn't about to bring a faithless people into a land that he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's that trials and tribulations he put the children of Israel in all 40 years in the wilderness. That's the same thing what he's going to do to our people now. When we read in Zechariah, when he says that he's going to try us as gold is tried, and as silver is tried, he's going to purify his people. He's going to have a purified people with faith, strong faith, a remnant of people with strong faith that he can take back to the promised land that he promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But he has to cleanse and purify his nation first. Those are the people with no faith. That's what it talks about, I believe, is in Thessalonians, that be not ignorant of Satan's devices, and there's going to be a great falling away. People are going to leave this faith because they don't have faith. They're going to leave this truth because they don't have faith. Trials and tribulations are going to come and test these people, and they're going to leave because they don't have faith. But you're going to have remnants of those that still have faith, that's still going to endure and still going to keep pushing until the Most High has a remnant of people. That's that purified nation that he's going to have, that he's going to take with him to rule with him, like we see in Revelations 22.
In the place that's not seen.
Right.
How can you get into a place that you can't see if you don't believe?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, my bad. Dude, I was just going over this in Eve clap, bro. This is crazy. It'd be like really tying into each other. It'd be crazy. That's just beautiful. But go ahead, bro. My bad.
No, that was pretty much it. Yeah, that was pretty much it. Now a few things that we know and was pointed out within this. You're gonna figure
Yeah,
out your true faith when the obstacles are at the highest, not when it's at its
exactly.
lowest. It's easy to come to show faith and to have less doubt when it's like, oh, I can lift that TV up, and you know you can. But what about when it's time to move the couches by yourself? Are you gonna
Right.
call everybody like, man, I don't believe I can do this? Or you gonna say, let me try, let me get it done?
Hmm.
That's when true faith shows.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. So,
that was pretty much that.
Kefa, you got some more scripture you just wanted to bring out? If not, I think it's Will Son of Yah's turn, and then from there,
I can bring up what is it? As gold is tried.
okay.
I'm just gonna read that one, and then the enduring process. Hold on, let's scroll. So this is in
Comment section, bro. Wait, I'm listening though, bro. I mean,
yeah.
yeah.
This is Zechariah 13:9, right? Well, I'm going to read in verse 8. It says, "It shall come to pass that in all the land, said the Most High, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, for the third part shall be left therein. And I will bring a third part through the fire," that's that key word fire, "and will refine them as silver is refined, and try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them, and I will say, it is my people, and they will say, the Most High is my power." So that's what the Most High is going to do to his nation. He's going to try us, put us through tribulations. We've been going through tribulations ever since we got kicked out of our land. Most High, he's going to have a purified people, a remnant of people that's going to call upon him. These are people that are calling upon him when things are bad. A lot of people won't call on the name of the Most High when things are bad because they're going to leave the faith. They'll be like, oh, God's not real, or I don't believe in this no more. They're going to leave. But you're going to have this remnant of people that are going to call upon the name of the Most High when things are bad. And the Most High, he's going to hear them. He said, these are my people. And I will say, and they will say, the Most High is my power. So that all ties in with faith. Faith is the key part in all this, in this walk, because we see a lot of things throughout life. We go through a lot of things throughout life, but it's our faith that is going to get us through it. Because the Most High, he looks for that faith. And if we have that faith, he's going to match that, and he's going to help us and give us strength to keep on enduring. What is it? I think is in James. James is another good one. When he talks about endure until death, and you shall receive a crown of life. That crown of life is everlasting salvation. And I think that, James 1. Actually, enduring to death, we see that in Revelations. James 1:12, it says, "Blessed is the man that endured temptation. For when he is tried," we just read, tried in Zechariah, Most High, he's going to put us through tribulation, being tried. He put Abraham, he tried Abraham by telling Abraham to sacrifice his son. So in this walk, the Most High is going to test you on a daily basis to see where your faith is at. But in verse 12, it says, "Blessed is the man that enduring temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive a crown of life, which is the Most High had promised to them that love him." That's that promise. We read in Hebrews 11. Well, that was, so promise is that's tying in with faith, because faith is the substance of things that not seen. So we see here, blessed is the man that endured temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive a crown of life, which the Most High had promised to them that loved him. Promise. So that's already come to pass. But because it's past tense, right? So these are the people who still endured no matter how hard the situation is, but they remember that promise that the Most High promised to his people. And now they're receiving the crown of life because now that promise has come to pass. Whether we are the generation or the next generation, no matter what, even when we die, we have to have faith until death. We have to endure until death, that we will believe and have faith that we will be resurrected into the kingdom, resurrected to receive that everlasting salvation, to receive that crown of life. And so I think that's in Revelations. Let me pull that up. Until yeah, it's in Revelations. Hold on. Y'all can say something until I bring this up, but hold on. Okay.
No, this is you got it.
Yeah, I got it. It's Revelations 2:10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer." So Most High is telling us not to fear what's to come, what's to suffer. That ties in, and that's why I keep stressing to those that don't listen what the hype is saying. This whole war that's going on, that doesn't mark the coming of the Messiah. That's already been prophesied that there will be wars and rumors of wars, but the end is not yet. But these are the beginning of sorrows. When you're suffering, when you're going through sorrows, you're suffering. All right. So we have to endure the times to come. That's why the Most High in Revelation, he reassures us, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison that you may be tried. There shall try it again, being tested. And ye shall have tribulations 10 days, but be faithful until death, and I will give you a crown of life. So that's the type of faith we have to have, because again, we don't know when the Messiah is coming. We don't know when he's going to establish his kingdom, but we have to have faith even unto our graves that we will receive the crown of life. That's the type of faith that the Most High is looking for. He's not looking for people that are only having faith for X amount of years based on what someone said, talking about, oh, the end is coming after this war. World War III is going to mark the end of the world and all that stuff. Most High is not looking for that type of faith, because if World War III happens and we're still here, you're not going to have no faith anymore, because you put all your faith that this war is going to get you out of here, but you still here. That's not faith. The Most High, he's looking for faith for people that will have faith even until death, until their graves. A lot of people are going to get killed. A lot of people are going to die of old age. Moses didn't even see the promised land.
That's a scripture, actually.
Right.
We're faithful unto death, right?
Yeah.
That's a scripture.
Moses didn't even see the promised land, but look, he had faith that his seed, his people, will receive that promised land. He didn't even see it. A lot of our people in Abraham and Sarah, they died in faith. That's literally the type of faith we must have.
That's a fact. I mean, that's what John's saying in Revelations 20. Those that have faith, that didn't take that mark, that didn't worship that beast. So yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that's faith right there in itself. So yeah, that's facts. Did you have another one you wanted to get into?
I'll just have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I have one more. I think it's. I have it saved here. I think it's Psalms 91. Let me see. Yeah, Psalms 91:7. This is another example of faith. It says, and this is right here. It says, I can read from verse 1. It says, "He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say unto the Most High, He is my refuge and my fortress. My power in Him I will trust." That's that faith again. Trust in the Most High, He's going to keep you safe. Refuge is a shelter, a place of protection. So you're having faith that the Most High, He is your refuge and your fortress, your place of peace. In Him you will trust, not in man, not in someone else, but in the Most High you will trust. Verse 3, "Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisy pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid of the terror by night, nor the arrow that fly by day, nor the pestilence that walk in the darkness, nor the destruction that wastes at noonday. 1,000 may fall at that side, and 10,000 at that right hand, but it shall not come near you." That's a clear example of faith. You seeing you who knows when all things, starts to get really bad, but it says 1,000 will fall at your side. You go see people dying left and right, dropping like flies. A lot of people will get discouraged, have doubt, think that I'm going to die. But the Most High is saying that all these things, all these, destruction will not come near you. But that's up to your faith. If you believe that, then it will not come near you. This is faith in itself right here. You have a faith that the Most High will protect you in the times of, the times of trouble, times of tribulations. He will protect you. He will be your refuge, your fortress, your place of peace. When all things, hit the fan, things get tough and things get hard, and there's chaos all around. You gotta have faith, and you gotta have faith in the Most High that He's gonna protect you, even when you're seeing thousands of people die and 10,000 over here. But it's not gonna affect you. That's the type of faith we need to have.
It's fire.
So that's the last one I gotta say.
No, yeah, that was fire, bro. That was fire. So yeah, Tazaraf, I know you said you had it.
Yeah.
The brother knocked back off and let him back up. All right, yeah, Tazaraf, if you wanted to get into that last one.
Yeah, man. Yes.
23. I think this one is very fire.
Man.
So yeah, we can definitely get into that. I think it's very needed. So
Second Maccabees, chapter 7.
Second Maccabees.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna share screen for this one. This one is very it definitely shows faith.
Man.
It was one I slept to. I can definitely say that. It was one I slept to. Because I ain't think about it until you hit me in the back chat about it. But let's go to Second Maccabees. And what chapter?
Chapter 7, verse 1. Man, this the ultimate amount of faith right here.
This is facts. And then after this, Will, you up next. You got it?
This Second Maccabees chapter 7 and verse 1. It came to pass also that the 7 brethren with their mother were taken and compelled by the king against the law to taste swine's flesh. And we know Leviticus 11. It goes over the dietary law. And were to taste swine's flesh, and were tormented with scourges and whips. This is a woman and her kids, her 7 kids. But one of them that spake first said thus, what wouldest thou ask or learn of us? We are ready to die rather than to transgress the law of our forefathers. Then the king, being in a rage, commanded pans and cauldrons to be made hot. So he put in metal over the fire, heating them up for his torments. That they're already getting whipped with whips and scourges and things like that, similar to what they beat the Messiah with. Which forthwith being heated, and he commanded to cut out the tongue of him that spake first, and to cut off the uttermost parts of his body. That goes into his privates.
It's crazy.
The rest of his brethren and his mother looking on. So he's doing all of this while everyone is they're watching their little brother get his mouth cut off, get whipped, and get his body parts cut off in real life. Verse 5. Now when he was thus maimed in all his members, and he commanded him, being yet alive, to be brought to the fire and to be fried in the pan.
What?
So he beat him almost to death, and he said, oh wait, he's still alive? Now let me fry this. Let me fry him in a pan.
Oh my gosh.
And as the vapors of the pan was for a good space dispersed, they exhorted one another with the mother to die manfully, saying thus. So that right there is faith right there. They looking at their brother get chopped up, get beat, and he's getting thrown in fire. Of course they're nervous, but they still telling each other like, hey, we got to take this. We got to die. Just how he just died, we got to stand up for ourselves and for our forefathers and the Father right now. They're encouraging each other while they seeing this happen. This is a bloody, this is a massacre, and it's their blood that they grew up with.
This is real. This is being tried right here.
literally, like this is literally being tried, and it say strive unto the unto the law unto death.
Mm-hmm.
And
Facts.
he literally just said we're not going against it. And he spoke first openly and said, "Hey, we're not going against that law. So what are you gonna ask for? So what are you gonna do?" Verse 6. The Lord God looketh upon us, and in truth hath comforted us. And Moses in his song, which witnessed to their faces, declared, saying, "And he shall be comforted in his servants." So when the first was dead after this manner, they brought the second to make him a mocking stock. And when they had pulled off the skin of his head with the hairs, they asked him, "Wilt thou eat before thou be punished throughout every member of thy body?" But he answered in his own language, and he said, "No." Wherefore he also received the next torment in order, as the former did. And when he was at the last gasp, he said, "Thou like a fury takest us out of this present life, but the king of this world shall rise up,
Mm.
who have died for us his laws unto everlasting life." So with his last bit of breath, he even spoke of the Messiah and how he gonna rise up and save us because he died for us, you know,
Man was prophesizing in his last words.
with his last words. And he had it said they ripped the skin off of his head and they,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they mocking him, but still that didn't discourage him. That didn't I'm pretty sure it hurt it, but that didn't affect him and how he pleased God in his faith.
Mm-hmm.
Because his last words was, you feel me? Though y'all kill me today, it's a man, it's a God that was here that came and died in the flesh, so that way he may save us and we may be saved.
That's that crown of life right there. Enduring to death.
Man, what?
It's crown of
Man,
life.
and this verse 10, and everything that's going on is explicit.
Mm-hmm.
After him was the third made a mocking stock, and when he was required, he put out his tongue, and that right soon, holding forth his hand manfully, and said courageously, "These I had from heaven, and for his law I despised them, and from him I hope to receive them again."
Mm.
So he seen what happened to his brother and his other brother, and he put his tongue in his hands out and said, "Man, God gave this to me. So you could take him, because I know if it's in his will, he gonna give him back."
Mm-hmm.
Man, I can't even describe that kind of faith. You know, that kind of faith is that's just something that's not of this world. That's given from him directly.
Right.
Verse 12. And so much that the king and they that were with him marveled at the young man's courage, for that he nothing regarded the pains. So it was so bad. I mean, he had such a strong amount of faith. All the people that was tormenting him and the king, they looked and marveled like, "Wow, this man he a kid, and he's showing that he's manfully in his faith for the Father. He's standing up for his God, you know,
Right.
even unto death." Now, when this man was dead also, they tormented and mangled the fourth in like manner.
Mm.
So when he was ready to die, he said, "Thus it is good being put to death by men, to look for hope from God, to be raised up again by him. And for thee, thou shalt have no resurrection to life." Afterward, they brought the fifth also and mangled him. Then looked he unto the king and said, "Thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken of God." So he's saying, what he's saying is, just because you tormenting us and just because you having your fun with us now, don't think that God is not seeing this and that he's not going to come back for his people. I'm laying down
Right.
like that kind of reminds of on Christ. When they came and got him, he said, I'm gonna roughly paraphrase it, but he basically said, "I sat there and I taught in the synagogues, and now you seek to come get me, but it
Mm-hmm.
must be done." You know what I'm saying? Like it
Mm.
must happen. So that's, man, this is crazy. Let me see. Where was I at? Also look being put together for men after the resurrection, after the man got him. All right, I'm gonna read that. It's 16. Then looked he unto the king and said, Thou hast power over men. Thou art corruptible. Thou doest what thou wilt. Yet think not that our nation is forsaken by God. But abide a while, and behold his great power, how he will torment thee and thy seed. After him also they brought the sixth, who being ready to die said, be not deceived without cause. For we suffer these things for ourselves, having sinned against our God. Therefore marvelous things are done unto us. He counted being put to death as marvelous.
That's faith.
He
Imagine how
didn't,
many people, man, bro. Nobody in our generation, I don't think no one has that type of faith.
man, like they came to kill him. He didn't say, oh man. He acknowledged we a sinful nation. We sinned.
Mm-hmm.
But what's finna happen to me is a marvelous thing because I'm dying for him. It's a blessing that I'm able to even die for him.
Right.
Man,
They don't. That's praising the Most High. That's having that transparency, being able to understand. For one, the person who says this understands what his ancestors have been through,
right.
Mm-hmm.
and you know, this person is very studious.
Mhm.
We can see that in a lot of examples. But yeah, you got it, bro. You got it.
No, everything you just said, that's all facts. Because it's like,
Mm-hmm.
when have you ever heard someone marvel in death?
I
Like,
mean, we can see that the disciples, students,
oh,
they
I'm saying like, you
no,
feel
yeah,
me? Like modern, like how
no
much people do you
facts,
see
facts.
walk around saying that? Not just saying, but
Nobody.
it's an act that have an actual account of them dying, saying, I'm taking this death right here because of what my ancestors did.
Right, facts. Nobody's looking at it like that, and that's because, for one, a lot of us is lost as far as who we are anyway.
Right.
Yep.
So it's just these accounts that we have. We can see that, yeah, persecution. Uh,
This
as
is
we
real persecution right here.
Yeah, this is real. Like, this is not just being able to walk off and
Right.
laugh about it. This is like
Right.
Right.
you got to go up to the Father and wait to judgment. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's crazy. This is wild. That's why this was a nice chapter that you brought out.
Yep.
And
I
then
got something that go along with this,
go ahead.
Okay.
but it's for the end. It's for the end though.
Okay, facts. You good on this, or you want to go to verse 20?
Oh, I thought he said he had some.
No, he was saying that he
Oh.
gonna bring it in, but at the end.
Okay. So it's like, I'm gonna continue to verse 20, but it's like, look, it's 7 brothers. I think they on the 5th one.
Yeah, they're on the 5th one now.
Everybody after the first brother literally stuck to the code and said, once they seen their brother slaughtered, before they even came to him, they spoke, I'm ready to go.
Go.
I'm willing to do this. Before they even came and touched him, he stuck his hands out. He stuck his tongue out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He told him, you can have your fun now. Matter of fact, even though you're killing us now, continue to live on a little bit. Because then when our Lord come back and avenge us, you'll see, you know what I'm saying, what we were doing was meant.
Right.
This verse 19. It said, but think, verse 20, my bad. But the mother was marvelous above all and worthy of honorable memory. For when she saw her 7 sons slain within the space of one day, she bare it with a good courage because of the hope that she had in the Lord. Yeah, she exhorted every one of them in her own language, filled with courageous spirits, and stirring up her womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. She said unto them. So let's
Yeah.
point that out.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, do that.
It said, womanish thoughts with a manly stomach. That manly stomach is that faith that men possess, that courage. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, she acknowledged the fact that she was a woman, but the way that she acted in this was in a confident / faithful type way. You feel me?
I mean, and just to add on, like, I mean, from the context of the chapter, I'm not saying like it wasn't no man around, but we don't see a man around.
Right.
This is a woman taking care of 7 kids. This woman is no ordinary woman.
Right.
Like, that's a fact.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking about according to what we see. I ain't saying there's not a man around nowhere. He could have died the day before this was written or whatever. You know
Right.
what I mean?
No,
But what
no,
I'm
I
trying to
got you.
say is what we're looking at. This is a woman raising 7 kids.
Man,
That's crazy, bro.
man.
That's wild. So we have to know that she has to take characteristics on for the other partner. I mean,
Right.
that's a fact.
She
And
could be a widow.
Or she could have been a widow, and that's just, and in exactly the same way. You feel me?
Yeah.
But yeah, facts. This is a fire chapter, bro.
It's
really
it's a slight bit more, and I think that's the end
No,
of it.
you good. Whatever.
Yeah.
what you go
It's a
to.
slight bit more,
This
but it's
whole
like
this whole chapter.
all her
good.
children were getting killed. She could have been nervous the whole time and been like, I eat it.
She could talk her sons out of it.
She could, yeah, right. No, but she could have, like, all of them, like, let's just eat it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They're not playing with us. They're gonna kill us. They're gonna torment us. But she was even more. She was filled with even more faith as she seen each and every one of her sons die that she raised. This verse 22. I cannot tell how ye came into my womb, for I neither gave you breath nor life, neither was it I that formed the members of every one of you. But doubtless, she said, but doubtless the creator of the world, who formed the generation of man and found out the beginning of all things, will also of his own mercy give you breath and life again, as ye now regard not your own selves for his law's sake. Now Antiochus, thinking himself despised and suspecting it to be a reprooful speech, while as the youngest was yet alive, did not only exhort him by words, but also assured him with oaths that he would make him both a rich man and a happy man, if he would turn from the law of his fathers, and that also he would take him for his friend and trust him with affairs. Now that like the Revelation scripture you had brought out when it said they didn't take the mark.
Yeah.
This right here is an example of that. This in his own way, because he's saying like I'll give you anything. I'll give you gold. I'll give you all this, all these things if you just turn away from your God.
Right.
And you know what I'm saying? You'll be my friend. You'll do all of these things. You'll be a ruler. But let's continue. He said, but when the young man would in no cause hearken unto him, the king called his mother and exhorted her that she would counsel the young man to save his life. And when he had exhorted her with many words, she promised him that she would counsel her son. But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing, the cruel tyrant to scorn, spake in her country language on this manner: O my son, have pity upon me, that bare thee 9 months in my womb, and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up until this age, and endured the troubles of education. So this kind of does seem like a woman that's pretty much pulling her own weight. I beseech thee, my son, look upon the heaven and the earth, and all that is therein, and consider that God made them of things that were not, and so was mankind made likewise. Fear not this torment, but being worthy of thy brethren, take thy death, that I may receive thee again in mercy with thy brethren. While she was yet speaking these words, the young man said, whom wait ye for? I will not obey the king's commandment, but I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. And thou that has been
before you move on, Salakia, before you move on, the son said, the young man said, I will not obey the king's commandments. For you to do that, you gotta have faith.
Exactly.
At this time, this is in Maccabees, so this is the Grecian captivity.
Right.
You're in captivity.
Right.
You're not in your land. You know you're a slave. You still not gonna do what your slave or your taskmaster tell you to do.
Right.
You're gonna do what it say. But I will obey the commandment of the law that was given unto our fathers by Moses. He talking about his ancestors.
Right.
Giving reverence to them.
He only. I mean, he's talking about Moses. My bad. I got this train by me. But he's talking about Moses. He never met Moses.
Right.
This man never met Moses. He never met those fathers that he's talking about.
Right.
This is faith in this scripture. This is showing faith right here. They're ready to die about it. Being faithful to it, man. So it's just showing you more examples of it. But go ahead, bro. My bad.
No, I'm glad you actually pointed that out because look, he said, "Whom wait ye for?" He told like his mom is talking to him, and he looking at the king and said, "What are you waiting for?"
Right.
Like get, you know what I'm saying? Do what you gonna do because everything that you saying is going in air and out of the other air. So go ahead and get me out the way if that's what you desire.
Right. You don't care about all that.
Remember, 3 years old. A 3-year-old speaking.
Mm.
A 3-year-old.
He was 3?
3.
It say.
I
Boy,
bet
9 months and gave thee such.
3 years.
Gave thee such 3 years and nourished thee and brought thee on to this age. So I think he's a different age, but
Right.
it did highlight he was at one time 3 years and nourished thee and brought these on to this age. So he's a different age than 3 right there. But yeah, at the fact these are young men. That's
Right.
a fact.
Yeah.
Man,
No, probably no older than in their teens.
it seemed
Right.
like they teenagers. That's what it seemed.
Yeah, like something like young men. Yeah, just
Yeah.
Facts.
But verse 31, it said, "And thou that hast been the author of all mischief against the Hebrews shall not escape the hands of God. For we suffer because of our sins. And though the living Lord be angry with us a little while for our chastising and correction, yet shall he be at one again with his servants. But thou, O godless man, and of all other most wicked, be not lifted up without a cause, nor puffed up with uncertain hopes, lifting up thy hand against the servants of God. For thou hast not yet escaped the judgment of Almighty God, who seeth all things. For our brethren who now have suffered a short pain are dead under God's covenant of everlasting life. That's that crown. But thou through the judgment of God shalt receive just punishment for thy pride. But I, as my brethren, offer up my body and life for the laws of our fathers, beseeching God that he will speedily be merciful unto our nation, and that thou by torments and plagues mayest confess that he alone is God, and that in me and my brethren the wrath of the Almighty, which is justly brought upon all our nation, may cause may cease. Then the king, being in a rage, handled him worse than all the rest, and took him grievously, that he was mocked. So this man died undefiled and put his whole trust in the Lord.
Man.
Last of all, after the sons, the mother died. Let this be enough now to have spoken concerning the idolatrous feast and their extreme tortures. Man, that was it for that.
That's a great man, bro.
Facts.
You don't see people talking about they being persecuted. You not getting persecuted. You can walk out your house right now. You can check the mail and eat. You can eat whatever you want.
One. Oh no!
You ain't being persecuted. Ain't no one coming.
No.
Definitely not being persecuted like the ancestors were.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a fact.
Nowhere near.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's like this.
You can have this one.
We don't know.
They both
We don't know. We don't know where our faith lies.
That's you that's got to mute up.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
We don't. That's what I'm saying. What these 7 brothers went through. That's an example of having your faith tested, and we see how strong their faith is when they're literally getting persecuted. That's true persecution. That's something we have not been through yet as a people.
Man.
I mean, the last hardship persecution, well, I say it was back in Jim Crow and segregation when our people were getting hunted. Nobody's getting hunted here no more. We're pretty much chilling, right?
Right.
But when things get bad, because things are gonna get bad, we don't know when. That's when our faith is gonna get tested. Because right now, I wouldn't say it's peace, but we're not being tested as the Most High wants to test us. He's gonna send tests. He's gonna send real persecution. Like when people are knocking on your door and telling you to submit. When we read in Revelations, I don't know, it was, I think 20, when it says those that were beheaded for the witness of the Messiah,
Right.
in the word of God. That's true persecution. That's the direction we're heading to. You're not there yet. You got
Right.
people knocking on your door, and if you don't submit to this, off with your head. They're
Yeah.
gonna have you execution style on your knees with a sword against your neck, saying if you don't submit to this, if you don't bow down to this, you're gonna die.
And it may not be called what you think it's called today. You know what I'm saying? So while you're looking out for a certain title today, these people are all coming together and they may make a new title. And then you think, they just rebranded the same thing, but it's all talked about. That's the key. It's all talked about. Right.
So that's
fine.
Yeah, that's true faith right there, and that's how the Most High, he's gonna test his people again. He's gonna try us as silver is tried, and as gold is tried. Yeah,
That's that join or die flag. We're gonna bring that back.
It'd definitely be a joint and die. I'll just say it. I don't really care. If you just looked into the Quran, just like study it for a little minute, you'll see that's what it's about. Like, it's not even. It's really you gonna get down or lay down type.
They not playing around.
They coming. They still doing it.
Yeah. We don't find that in the Bible. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we see that you know the unfaithfulness, and we can see the scriptures we see, but yeah, bro, they on some real live,
They don't play. That's what I'm saying. For people, and I'm just gonna say it right now. The direction we're heading to, Islam. That's
facts.
You gotta watch out for them.
Or a form of it. And like I said, they can rebrand it. They can rebrand the name, but under the same umbrella, it is still the same under the same principles.
Right, because Islam is the fastest growing religion. We got the Pope trying to merge Christianity with Islam, calling it Chrislam. So we see that reform. We see that rebranding right there.
The unity,
the tendencies are still there when we read Revelations 20, which is those that were beheaded.
That's
so that tendency is still going to be there.
Yeah. The principles and the way that Isaac prophesied, that's not going to change. That's the identifiers. Those things won't change like it won't change for us. It's not like we're going to be blessed overnight without change coming. What I mean by change coming as a messianic figure, coming to set the world in this place. I guess the nations in this place. It's not going. Those signs ain't gonna change. That's why we got flags that got swords on them. You know what I mean? Those things won't change. Until that time comes. So
signs are there.
The signs is there. It's just when you get out of your European Western understanding and actually look at it for what it really is.
Right.
Because it's really us over here that, I'm not saying everybody awake back home. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is, for those that are, it's playing on tables. You know what I mean? So we need to get on that level because a lot of this is lost over here. We need to get back, and we are the sheep. If you don't, when I say the sheep, I'm saying those that's been taken out the land. Now I ain't talking about what tribe you come from, but we talking about this taking out the land and that's lost. You feel me?
A lot of sheep out here wandering with no shepherd.
That's a fact. But you got it right now, Will, bro. You got it.
Oh, that was. Hold on, my bad. My bad, Doc. Just in case somebody didn't get that, that was 2 Maccabees chapter 7.
You want us to bring it back? Oh, you saying okay.
Yeah, so like when they watch it, they'd be like, damn, what that was 2 Maccabees chapter 7.
Yeah, 2 Maccabees chapter 7. We brought Ken up here. Salama, brother.
What's going on, Kent?
Shalom, bro.
Shalom,
Shalom, bro.
brothers.
First time on here.
Shalom, brothers. What's up, y'all?
Yeah. But yeah,
All
you
right,
got
man.
it,
So,
Will.
brother Tochuckle, if you want to bring the scripture up for me, that I just so the people can see it. But so far, the brothers did a pretty good job at bringing out the scriptures, showing what is faith, and what I've learned or come to the conclusion of so far from everything the brothers has brought out is, believing in something extremely, to the fullest, no matter the situation, no matter the tribulation, no matter what situation you is, all the way to death, you're gonna believe in the Father through anything, basically. So with us being in captivity, I like to show some examples of our ancestors, in captivity, still retaining their faith. And to do that, we can jump off with Daniel chapter 3. You can go to Daniel chapter 3, and I will be starting specifically at verse 12. And it says, there are certain Jews whom thou hast set over the affairs of the provinces of Babylon, Sadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. These men, O king, have not regarded thee. They serve not the gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set. So you have a few Israelites outlined throughout Daniel who would not obey or basically follow the decree of the king in Babylon during this time, which he wanted them to serve idols and worship their foreign gods. Basically, and we know it's unlawful for us to do that as Israelites. Verse 13. Then Nebuchadnezzar, in his rage and fury, commanded to bring Sadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Then they brought these men before the king. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, is it true, O Sadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up? So he questioned them, like, are y'all not really worshiping what I've asked you all to? And it goes on to say, now if you be ready, that at what time you hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, succor, pauster, and a dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour and the midst of the burning furnace, fiery furnace. And who is the God that shall deliver you out of my hands? All right. So we see that he's basically tempting these people's faith at this point. He's saying we're going to throw you into this fiery furnace. And then what God, or who is this God that's going to save you out of my hands? All right. Verse 16 goes on to say that Sadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said unto the king, we are not careful to answer thee in this manner. If it be so, our God who we serve is able to deliver us from, turn the page, from the fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of the hand of thy king. So immediately they came back with a rebuttal saying that it is our God that will save us out of your hands. And of course, they believe that to the fullest, and that's just showing that they do indeed have faith, or they did have faith that they would be saved from that furnace. Verse 18, but if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up. Then Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Sadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 17 times more than it want to be heated. All right, so he said, we're going to heat it up some more since they back talking, they getting bold, and they think that God can really save them. Then these men were bound. Right, he got mad. He said, I'm going to show y'all. All right, so he said, then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore the king commanded was urgent, and the furnace exceedingly hot. The flame of the fire slew these men that took up Sadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. All these three men, Sadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down, bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. It goes on to say, then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and arose up in haste, and spake and said unto the counselors, did we not cast three men bound into the midst of the fire? Then they answered and said unto the king, true, O king. All right, so we see that he's starting to question them because he doesn't see them anymore, or they're still actually there. Verse 25 goes on to say, he answered and said, lo, I see four men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the fourth is like the Son of God. So in this situation, you actually have, Yeshua or Yeshu coming down and assisting these brothers in this in this fiery furnace. And he goes on to say, did I not throw 3 down there? Why is it 4? So he's confused at this point. And it's
Man.
also showing their faith as well, because where did this being come from, or where did this fourth form like the Son of Man come from? Verse 26 goes on to say, then Nebuchadnezzar came near the mouth of the burning fiery furnace and spake and said, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither. Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth of the midst of the fire. And the princes, the governors, and the captains, and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men upon the bodies. The fire had no power, nor was hair of their heads signed, neither were the coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed on them. And this is because they had faith in the Most High. They literally said, you put us in this fire, our Lord is going to deliver us. And it literally came to pass. Verse 28, then Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who have sent his angel and delivered his servants that trusted in him, and have changed the king's word and yielded their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, nation, and language which speak anything amiss against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces, and their houses shall be made a gunhill, because there is no other God that can deliver after this sort. Nor the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the provinces of Babylon. So we see actually, because of these 3 young Israelites' faith, it ended up basically raising them to power in the Babylon province, sort of like what happened with Joseph when he was in Egypt in captivity. Because of his faith, the Most High saved him out of situations, and then he also lifted him up in that kingdom or in that province. And it even came to the point where Nebuchadnezzar made a decree saying that if anyone talks bad about these people's God, then they should be beheaded and cut into pieces. Again, this is an example of Israelites in captivity holding fast to their faith and the traditions of their forefathers.
Man,
Yo, this was fire, and I'm about to.
It's
And there was
beautiful.
some things that this is very fire, but I'm about to just point out something that I ain't even really like take into consideration this whole time. This is Daniel. We're talking about the Tanakh right now. Where is this thought process in these Israelites? You got to really look at verse 25. It says, and they have no hurt, and the form of the fourth is like the Son of. Where is this concept of the Son of God at this time?
Right.
Why is this a concept? Why is this there? It would like it. You have to understand that this messianic figure or this Son of God, it was a concept beforehand. It wasn't. It's not a new concept, according to. I just pointed that out. But one other thing I wanted to point out was, where was it at? I think it was in verse 20. I'm trying to read real quick. I think it was verse 29. I'm going to read that. It says, therefore, I make a decree that every people and nation and language which speak anything amidst the Most High or the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces. Listen, this is the king of Babylon talking. When we have our faith and we are ready to die by our faith, anybody else who is against us at that moment, with the power being with us, the Most High, it's like you're gonna die, or you're gonna either get it. Like, that's when we are in power, is when we have faith in the Most High.
That's true.
That's and everybody else who doesn't. But when we don't have faith in them, how could he even do that to anybody else? It can't be like that. Like, you have to understand that we got to understand and have that real faith. And it's not like, we're asking, where is your faith? Not does it exist or not?
Right.
But
Or
this
does it
is
lie?
real faith. These brothers are going through furnaces, fire. Well, Daniel himself was through in the den.
Mm-hmm. Filled
With a
with hungry lions.
It's like you got to understand where is your faith, because what would you submit to? I heard a brother, and I'm saying this right now. I don't care what nobody say. A brother told us, man, and I say us because it was, hey man, if it when persecution come, and they talk about what they say. I think it was talking about I don't know if we was talking about the beheading or the mark of the beast, whatever we was talking about. He was like, yeah, I submit. I'll say that brother's not in a good place right now. That's all I'm gonna say, man. I mean, that's being all the way honest. I love the brother to this death, and I'm never gonna give up on him, but he's not in a good place right now.
That's
and he
crazy,
said he is
bro.
submit though, and you can see that the Most High. I mean, from that time he said that it's a whole chat, bro. I believe in the Most High with all my fibers in my body, bro. I'm trying to tell y'all. It's a real thing, bro. I've watched it. I'm witnessing it in front of my eyes today. It's crazy. So, man, but this is a very, very good example, bro. I'm glad you brought this out.
Yeah, this is a good one.
To this was fire. Did you have another one, or did you want to keep? Or how did you want to do that?
I can we can jump to Daniel 6 real quick, bring out the reference you just made mention to, and then I'll pass it on to someone else. But if you think about it, if you in this situation and you and your homeboys and you and your brothers, y'all being dragged to a ditch, and how would you feel in that situation? Would you be able to have this much faith to be like, man, throw me in there, the Most High gonna save you,
Right.
So that's exactly what the lesson is. Where is your faith? And it's a level of it, because you're here. We know you got some. Because you wouldn't even be tuning into this without any. Right. Such thing. So we asking, where is it at? And can we throughout these scriptures make you realize that we in these days need to strengthen our faith?
Got you.
Yeah. Daniel chapter 6 is up, brother.
Right. So I'm gonna begin at. We can start at verse 10. We can start at verse 10 and we can read down from there. And it says, now when Daniel knew that the writing was signed, he went into his house, and his windows began opening the chambers towards Jerusalem. He kneeled upon his knees 3 times a day and prayed and gave thanks before his God, as he did after time. Then these men assembled and found Daniel praying and making supplication before his God. Then also you want you all to remember the decree that Nebuchadnezzar made earlier in the chapter that you should not worship any other gods, so forth on.
Right.
Verse 12 goes on to say, then they came near and spake before the king concerning the king's decree. Hast thou not signed a decree that every man that shall ask a petition of any god or man within 30 days shall save of thee, O kings, shall be cast into the lion's den? The king answered and said, the thing is true according to the laws of the Medes and the Persians, which alter not. Then answered they and said before the king that Daniel, which is of the children of the captivity of Judah, regarded not thee, O king, nor the decree that thou hast signed, but maketh his petition 3 times a day. And again, I can just stop right here and make reference to this. Again, this is just showing how Daniel is in captivity. And although it's unlawful for him to worship his God and do his traditions, he's saying, forget what the ruling authorities are doing, forget what the king is doing. I'm going to do this regardless, no matter if I get caught or not, because I have faith that I will be redeemed or saved for whatever I go through. Verse 13, then answered they and said before the king, verse 14 actually. Then the king, when he heard these words, was sore displeased with himself and set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored till the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men assembled unto the king and said unto the king, now, O king, the law of the Medes and the Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king established may be changed. It goes on to say, then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the lion's den, or the den of the lion. Now the king spake and said unto Daniel, the God whom thou servest continually, he will deliver you. So now at this time, you got the king making a joke, basically saying like, you keep worshiping that God, tell him to come save you. Verse 13.
Mocking.
Right. And a stone was brought and laid upon the mouth of the den. And the king sealed it with his own signet and with the signet of his lords, that the purpose might not be changed concerning Daniel. Then the king went to his palace and passed the night fasting, neither were instruments nor of music brought before him, and his sleep went from him. Then the king arose very, very early in the morning and went in haste into the lions, or the den of lions. And when he came into the den, he cried with a lamentable voice unto Daniel. And the king spake and said, Daniel, O Daniel, servant of the living God, is thy God, whom thou servest continually, able to deliver thee from the lions? So he coming back, seemed like he trying to be sarcastic and funny, but then Daniel answers back and said, then Daniel said unto the king, O king, live forever. My God have sent his angel and have shut the lions' mouths that have not hurt me, for as much as before him innocency was found in me, and also before thee, O king, have I done no hurt. Then was the king exceedingly glad for him and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. So Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of him was hurt or was found upon him, because he believed in God. And we know the main point, or the main way to have faith in the Most High, is to have a strong belief. All right, so we can even rephrase the end of this verses to, because he had faith in God. Verse 24, and the king commanded, and they brought those men which he had accused Daniel, and they cast them into the den of the lions, them and their children and their wives, and the lions had the mastery of them, and break all their bones in pieces, or every they came at the bottom of the den. All right, then it goes on to say how basically the same thing happened with Abednego, Meshach, and those guys. The king was exceedingly great, and again, this is just another example of Israelites in captivity, maintaining their faith. Again, we have another Israelite brother who has so much faith, who has so much belief in the Most High, that he was like, you put me in a den, nothing's going to happen. I'm going to pray to the Most High, and he's going to deliver me from this situation. And even we got the king coming back, seeing if Daniel was still alive, and he said, I live on. All right. The Most High has sent this angel to protect me, and I am still here. All right. So when we are having faith, in the Most High, he will always find a way to deliver us from, these situations. As long as we have faith, the right way. And also, there's no such thing as faith without work. So you got to put in the work too,
Right.
And just as Proverbs 20:6 says, most men proclaim everyone his own goodness, but a faithful man who can find. These are examples of faithful men that we can find, or we found in the scripture. Daniel, Abednego, Joseph, Abraham, all the patriarchs. So those are faithful men we can find and take fast to, and look at it as examples of having faith in the Most High.
Right.
Oh man, you said that was Proverbs 20:6.
Con.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna grab this scripture, and then I'm up next. This, right there. So yeah, all right. So man, that was beautiful, man. I definitely
that was really good.
Daniel definitely got some, and then when you was talking, what came to my mind, I think it was in Maccabees too. It was another, can't remember exactly what it was right now, but it was another scripture that came to my head. It's just so many examples of faith and having it,
Yep.
So yeah, so it's my turn, and I'm going to get into bringing out an example of faith, and we're going to go into this Jonathan and his pallbearer. And I love this one. When I first came into the truth, it was one of the ones that I kind of noticed. Oh, you got to put in. Oh yeah, First Samuel. This is not like the one.
Blue letter.
It was one of the yeah, right. It's not like blue letter. But so it was one of the first ones that I came across and I seen. I'm like, yo, this is the faith, like right here. Like, because I'm like, I don't see, but we're gonna get into it right now. So we're gonna read from verse 1 to 14. I'm gonna start at verse 1. It says, now it came to pass upon a day that Jonathan, the son of Saul, said unto the young man that bare his armor, come and let us go over to the Philistines' garrison that is on the other side. But he told not his father. So Jonathan didn't even tell his father Saul. And at this time, if you get the context of this book, at this time, they're at war. Everybody should be together. Like it shouldn't be anybody separating or anything like that. And you can see examples of that in 1 Samuel. But Jonathan himself and his armor bearer decide to break off. But verse 2 says, and Saul tarried in the uttermost parts of Gibeah under a pomegranate tree, which is in Moron, whatever. And the people that were with him, about 600 men. And Ahiah, the son of Ahitub, Ichabod, brother of the sons of Phinehas, the son of Eli, the Most High's priest in Shiloh, wearing an ephod. And the people knew not that Jonathan was gone, so they didn't even know that he left. And him and his pallbearer. Verse 4 says, and between the passages by which Jonathan sought to go over onto the Philistines' garrison, there was a sharp rock on the one side and a sharp rock on the other side, and the name of the one was Bozez, and the name of the other was Shened. The forefront of the one was Satu, and northward over against Mishmash, and the other southward against Gibeah. It says, and Jonathan said to the young man that bare his armor, come and let us go over onto the garrison of these uncircumcised. It may be that the Most High will work for us, for there is no restraint to the Most High to save by many or by few. So that means that the Most High, he can save as many as he want or as few as he want. You know what I'm saying? But he's saying that they're going to go up against the uncircumcised, which is the Philistines that was talked about. And he's calling them now uncircumcised, and he's going to their territory, their garrison, basically, where they're posted up for the war. 7, it says, and his armor bearer said unto him, do all that is in thine heart, turn thee, behold, I am with thee according to thy heart. So he with him, ride or die. There's no getting around that for him. That's his armor bearer is there until death. All right, and that's faith in Jonathan. You know what I mean? But it says, then said Jonathan, behold, we will pass over onto these men, and we will discover onto ourselves. We will discover ourselves onto them. It says, and if they say unto us, tarry until we come to you, so and tarry until they come to them, then will we stand in our place and will not go up onto them. So that was in that circumstance. Now here's the other circumstance in verse 10. It says, but if they say thus, come up onto us. If they bring and they say, man, come down here to where we at, we will go up, for the Most High have delivered them into our hand. How does Jonathan know this? We read this chapter from verse 1, where he broke off from the camp or the army, however you want to, the military force. He broke off on him. We don't see no prayers to the Most High. We don't see nothing. How is he telling his armor bearer this? That's faith right there. So
he's acting on faith.
The Most High hasn't revealed anything going to him. But we keep reading. It says, and this shall be a sign unto us. How do you know that? Because I could have sworn Moses was giving, he was saying this will be a sign, and this will be, you wasn't told anything. This is showing you blind faith right here. It says, and both of them discovered themselves into the garrison of the Philistines, and the Philistines said, behold, the Hebrews come forth. It's 2 of them. It's just 2. That's all it is. Out of the holes where they had hid themselves. This goes into something else, but we're going to get into that another day. I promise I won't forget it. All right. Verse 12, it says, and the men of the garrison answered Jonathan and his armor bearer and said, come to us, and we will show you a thing. And Jonathan said unto his armor bearer, come up after me, for the Most High have delivered them into the hand of Israel. It was just y'all too.
Right.
Yo, this is crazy. And Jonathan climbed up upon his hands and upon his feet, and his armor bearer after him, and they fell before Jonathan. And his armor bearer slew after him. And it says, and the first slaughter which Jonathan and his armor bearer made was about 20 men. It was two of them. Two of them. So they killed, let's just say if we split it in half and nobody did more than the other, they split it in half and they killed each 10. It's crazy. Within as it were an half acre of land, which an oak of oxen might plow. So that's to finish the verse off. In all these verses, there's no showing of any talking to the Most High of what to do. I'll give you an example. I think that's the book of Judges. I might be wrong about the book, but I'm not wrong about the story. The Israelites had seen that, I can't remember where the place was at now. The woman was cut up by the tribe of Benjamin, and it was by some what's the nation? What's the Sodomites? They was cut up by some Sodomites. That was in Judges, I want to say.
It is in Judges.
Yeah. Anyway, the children of Israel came up against the tribe of Benjamin, but the children of Israel had to go consult with the Most High about what to do. Jonathan, in this context, didn't consult with anybody, but told his armor bearer exactly what it was straight after breaking off. This is blind faith. Not saying that what they did was wrong over in Judges, but saying that this is showing you an example of the lesson we bringing out. Faith.
Right.
Where is yours? Because he didn't consult with the Most High according to this. But he said, hey, if this happens like this and they want to come up to us, then we need to stay where we at because it's not for us. Right. But if they tell us to come down and they want to get down, we know that the Most High is literally dealing with us.
Right.
That's faith right there. The first time I ever read it, it was beautiful to me, and it still is. But to get examples of the 2 against the 20 or the minority against the majority, we're going to grab a couple more scriptures. So I'm going to the law, and I'm going to grab Leviticus 26 just to show an example of that. I'm starting at verse 7. And it says, and ye shall chase your enemies, and they shall fall before you by the sword. This is the law. And 5 of you shall cease, shall chase 100, and 100 of you shall put 10,000 to flight. And your enemy shall fall before you by the sword. But how do you do that? By having faith.
Yeah, faith.
Because if you thinking that right now you can get outside right now and somebody come knocking on your door while you're doing this live and they say, yo, we 20 deep out here, come out and do and scrap with us. You got faith like that. You feel me? That's like real stuff though. That's real.
Go knock them all out.
Exactly. You feel me? You know, you can get out there, but do you really have that faith that you're gonna do it? And,
you better have a lot of faith.
Exactly. Bro, I ain't even gonna lie to you, bro. I gotta have some.
Go out there swinging, bro.
Oh wait, what?
Swing with a lot of faith.
Yeah, facts. That's a fact. Did I do that wrong? Okay, no, that's right. So here's another scripture for it too, and then I'm gonna move on to my next example just to clarify what it is. So this is Joshua 23 and verse 4. It says, and behold, I have divided you in the lots by these nations that remain to be an inheritance to your tribes from Jordan with all these nations that I have cut off even onto the great sea eastward. I don't think this is what I wanted to read. I think, hold on. Is that 13? Wait, no, I'm tripping. Hold on. Okay, right now I can't read my own handwriting, so we can move on to the next script. That's just I can't read my own handwriting right now. So yeah, my next script that I wanted to get into was another example. This example was in Matthew 6, on faith. I'm gonna start at verse 25 though. All right, so it says, just to get context of this chapter, it's talking about how we should pray and how we should do things. But in these examples that I'm giving is going to go into the faith aspect of it and not more of the how to go about things. So it says in verse 25, therefore I say unto you, take no thought of your life, what shall ye eat or what shall ye drink, nor yet for your body, which ye shall put on. It is not the life more, is not the life more than meat, and not the body than raiment. So is your life not more than the food that you eat, and is your body not more than the clothes that you put on it? You know what I'm saying? But it says, take no thought of this, on what you should eat and what you should drink, because sometimes we may be going through hardships and we may not have that provided for us. But the Most High got us in all our ways if we have faith in Him, because that's what it's all about, right? That's what it's been all about, and I'm gonna prove that with the with Torah too. I'm gonna go back to that. But it says, behold, the fowls of the air, so the birds of the air, for they sow not, they don't work, they don't do what Adam did, neither do they reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feedeth them. Are ye not much more than they? So all of these things that the Most High told us to do from the times of Adam, because we work for ours, we reap what we sow, according to the scriptures. But they don't reap. They don't sow, nor do they reap, nor gather into barns. So they don't even gather. But the Most High finds a way to feed them. And are we not more than what He gave us dominion over? Right. That's literally what it's saying. So anyway, verse 27 says, which of you by taking thought can add 1 cubit onto his stature? So the Most High could do this for you. That's like you. The Most High can make you as tall or as short as possible. And we're not just talking about physical, but we're talking about spiritual too. And that way, where we exalted, we're standing tall. And when we're condemned, we're low. That's just a fact. So anyway, it says, and why take ye thought for raiment? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They toil not, neither do they spin. So they don't do anything, but they still grow. They still grow. So don't think about the clothes that you got on your back, because the Most High got you on that. And it's saying, consider the nature. You know what I'm saying? I take care of that. Why wouldn't I take care of you? And yet I say unto you that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Even in all of Solomon's glory, and we know that was tremendous. It was peace in Solomon's days. Solomon's name in the Eve actually means peace. I think it means peace in the biblical Hebrew. I gotta go look back on that. But his name actually means peace, because there was no strife, no war in his day. So it says that even in his, it says that even Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these lilies in the field. So he takes care of that which doesn't worry. And that's just a fact that has faith. Here, verse 30 ties it all in. It says, whereof the Most High so clothe the grass of the field, which today is and tomorrow is cast into the oven, shall He not much more clothe you, O ye of little faith? Like, is that your faith, that you feel like the Most High not going to take care of you? Now we can see that Noah was preparing. He was preparing for what was said to come, but he had to have faith to prepare. He could have been like, man, whoever this voice is in my head that's coming to me and is talking, I could be going crazy, man, and I'm not gonna listen.
Right.
But he listened, and that was the faith in that, which with preparing. So it's not like you got to stay still and just, but the Most High got me. I'm gonna get this job. I ain't gonna apply, but the Most High got me. No, you still gotta apply, because like the brother Will said,
Makes no sense.
Yeah, you gotta have that. We've gotta have those works with that.
Exactly.
So that's a fact. Verse 31 says, "Therefore, take no thought, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or withal shall we be clothed? For after these things do the Gentiles seek. For your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things." He knows what you have need of. He knows that. So you don't have to be like in the scripture. I mean, if you know this chapter, then you know he's talking about the overlong prayers and the babbling and all of that. Like, it is not saying don't pray, because it tells us throughout the scriptures how much to pray. But don't make it so long about the things that he knows. Right now, with that prayer, and there's one thing that's mandatory. I'm just saying this. One thing that's mandatory is giving the understanding that we need forgiveness, because we did wrong.
Key.
That's the key thing, and that's what he points out. He say, don't even say you need forgiveness, because you do need forgiveness, but guess who need forgiveness more than you? Those ones that did me wrong initially, and that's your ancestors or your forefathers. That's who need it. So right now, that was just to get off into that. But that's a fact. But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added on to you. Everything that's listed above is added on to you once you seek the Most High's kingdom and his righteousness. And his righteousness is the law. And that's proven throughout the scriptures.
Right.
And it says, and all these things shall be added on to you. You can't get past that. There's no way to get past that. Verse 34 says, take therefore no thought for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof. So again, you have faith in the Most High. You seek the Most High's kingdom. You seek the Most High's righteousness. Everything that's been listed above that you may have worried about, how my kids gonna eat, how this gonna happen, how this gonna happen. No, we're not deleting works. Yes, of course, put in and apply pressure. We in this captivity, how to make the money. We're not saying, but the thing about it is, don't sit up here and think that the Most High don't have you.
Right.
He got you in all ways, as he's clearly stated throughout, and I'm about to show it in the law real quick. So let me get that. So this is Deuteronomy 32. So I can show you it's still in the law. It's not, it's still there in the law. I just spelled that. What was that? 32. All right. I'm going to verse 20. Oh, what happened? I gotta spell it out or something. Let me just go right here. All right, this is, and then what verse is this? Verse 32. Okay. So let's get it right here. Yeah, let's go. All right. So I'm going to verse 20. It's to show it in the law. It says, and he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a forward generation, children in whom is no faith. So even in the Torah, it was a thing about faith. This was before we were in the promised land, if we know anything about the first 5 books. Because if we know, who brought us into the promised land but Joshua?
Right.
So you needed to have faith in the wilderness at this point. Or let's just say it was in the land that that have tribe of Manasseh, Gad, and what was the other tribe?
Reuben?
Reuben. And that was on the other side, which was still Israelite territory of the land of Moab and all. We didn't get into that. But Yeah, so that even if it was on that side, it was still before they reached the promised land because that wasn't what they were supposed to inherit. They just decided because their cattle was good on that side of the grass, it was greener, and they had decided they wouldn't inherit that because they had a lot of cattle, the Gadites,
Yeah.
the Manasseh, and the Reubenites.
Right.
So they decided that they wouldn't inherit that over there, and Moses said it was good for them to do that. Quote unquote, why Naomi, when it was a drought and there was a famine in the land, they went over to that side because that side was fresh with land. But that was a different topic.
Right.
Well, I just felt like okay, but so yeah, let me get off into this other scripture I wanted to bring out in this Romans 3 and 1 through 4, just to bring out a couple more, and then I'll pass it along. I'm not gonna stay on it too long. All right, so Romans 3, verses 1 through 4, it says, "What advantage then have the Jew, or what profit is there of circumcision? Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of the Most High." So the Jews were committed the oracles of the Most High.
Indeed.
That is what Paul is demonstrating right there, that he's expressing. It says, "For what if some did not believe?" Well, to have belief is faith. That's to have belief is faith. It says, "Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? Should it make the Most High's faith without effect?" And it says in verse 4, it says, "The Most High forbid, ye, let the Most High be true, but every man a liar. As it is written, thou mightest be justified in thy sayings and mightest overcome when thou art judged." So we can see right there, faith needed, and it's the Most High's faith right here. Because it says in verse 4, verse 3, it says, "What if some did not believe?" Some of who? The Jews right there. And we can see that with the Pharisees. Shall their unbelief make the faith of the Most High without effect? No, because guess what? They're going to be judged by their works and by what's written already about them. Because everything was said beforehand. Everything was everything in the everything was said in the beginning. In the beginning it said the ending or something like that. I can't remember exactly how it went.
Or predestined.
Yeah, basically, predestined. Exactly. It was all written before it happened. You feel me? As we can see today with us, it's all written before it happened.
Yeah.
But that's showing the faith of the Most High too within us. You know what I'm saying? So I want to get let me get okay, this is one I want to touch on, and then if brothers want to touch on other ones, because I know you mentioned James, but I want to talk on the law of faith. For the law of faith, I'm going to go to 1 Thessalonians. Let me just go right here because I don't know what they want me. Yeah, 1 Thessalonians going to go into the law of faith. Because according to 1 Thessalonians, it is a law of faith, and it's in the first chapter, right? And so I'm going to read these verses. It says, "Paul and Silvanus and Timotheus unto the church of the Thessalonians, which is in the Most High, the Father, and in the Master, the Messiah. Grace be unto you and peace from our power, our Father, and the Master, the Messiah. We give thanks to the Most High always for you all, making mention of you in our prayers." So making mention of your brothers in your prayers, which we need to be praying for every time.
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
Is facts. Remembering without ceasing your faith, your work of faith. So it's your work of faith right here. And labor of love and patience and hope in our Master, in the sight of the Most High and our Father. Knowing, brethren, beloved, your election of the Most High, for our gospel came unto you in the word only, but also in power and in the Holy Spirit and much assurance, as ye know what manner of men among you for your sake. Let me see. Hold on, because I thought let me make sure I got this right. Okay, that's what it say. For one, did it talk about? Okay, I know it did talk about the work of faith,
I
but
think keep reading down.
okay, you know what? No, that's what it was. I got the. This was I want to talk about the work of faith right here. This is not the law of faith. My bad. The law of faith is actually in Romans. I got this written down, and I got it written down kind of crazy. I was rushing, but Romans 3 will talk about the law of faith, but that was talking about the work of faith right there. So in Romans 3, I'm going to start at verse 21. And this will be my last one right here. I'm going to just bring it all the way down. So it says, but now the righteousness of the Most High without the law is manifest, being witnessed by the law and the prophets. Even the righteousness of the Most High, which is by faith of the Messiah, of the Master, on to all and upon all them that believe. And what we read about earlier was the belief in the faith. It says, for there is no difference, for all have sinned and came short of the glory of the Most High. And this is something that needs to be in everybody's prayers too.
Right.
Because we all fall short of that glory. And I say it in my prayers, and sometimes I forget what scripture I got it from, but here it is right here. We all fall short of it. So you need to be praying for your ancestors that was here, for those that's here now, and for those to come. Right. Because we gonna all fall short, because all have sinned. And that's been since the time of what? Adam and Eve. Right. You know, and so we need to understand that. That's one thing. But even in verse 24, it says, being justified freely by his grace through the redemption that is in the Messiah, whom the Most High have set forth to be I keep getting this wrong.
Propitiation.
Yeah, propitiation, whatever. through faith in his blood, to declare his righteousness for the remission of sins that are past, through the forbearance of the Most High. So through faith in his blood. So we have to understand, and man, I can't wait till I start really being able to teach the cultural aspects of this, because this is not just how you want to put it, a New Testament, Matthew through Revelation understanding, but this is also understanding in the culture pre-colonial, and we're gonna bring that out. It's gonna be fire, man. Just grow with us in this channel. Really good. Right. We're gonna bring it out. Trust me. But anyway, verse 26 says, to declare, I say, at this time his righteousness, that he might be just and the justifier of him which believe in the Messiah. Where is boasting then? It is excluded by what law? Of works? Nay, not by works, because the law of works, nay, but by the law of faith. Because this is a thing. This is a real thing. It's been talked about in the law. So don't make it seem like it hasn't been mentioned in the law, because it has. So we can't say, oh, that's something. It's not a new concept, because it was mentioned in Deuteronomy as we went to. This is not a new concept. So Paul is not talking anything outside of his neck. Verse 28. Therefore, we conclude that a man is justified by faith without the deeds of the law, because right now the law was talked about. I mean, the faith was talked about in the law, but we know a change has came. Not saying that the law is done away with, because even Paul expressed that throughout his writings.
Sure
he expresses that. So we have to read it in context. And that's the thing, man. It's, bro, I ain't gonna lie, man. It's a beautiful thing when you, I'm gonna just say this right now. Learn African languages. And the reason why is because a lot of these things will unfold into you when you will start to actually see these scriptures come to life. And we would know that the blacks around the world, or the Bantus, or the whatever byword they got for us, are the children of Israel, bro. Because it wouldn't, no European language can do this. I'm just being honest. It's not that deep for them. All right, or encoded, I should say. 29. Is he the Most High of the Jews only? Is he not also of the Gentiles? Of the Gentiles also, seeing it is one power which shall justify the circumcision by faith, because who was found faithful? Abraham.
Mm-hmm.
And uncircumcision through faith. Now, who was found faithful before circumcision? Abraham.
Yep.
Like, how old was Abraham when he got circumcised? I think it was he 100 or
I think was he 90?
he was 90? He was
He was old.
He was older when he got, and he had his first son because he had Ishmael at that time, right?
Yeah,
I believe
he circumcised himself and he circumcised Ishmael that day when he received that.
Fact. So he was found faithful even before the circumcision. So this is what it's talking about.
Right.
Because that's gonna be enough. We're gonna get into that lesson too. But it says, seeing it is one power, which shall justify the circumcision by faith and the uncircumcision through faith, because through their faith, I don't want to get too deep on this, but yeah, they needed faith to be grafted back in. I'll just say that. All right. Do we then take void the law through faith? Right. Listen, do we then take void the law through faith? It says the Most High forbid. Yeah, we established the law.
Right.
So the law doesn't go away with because of faith, because faith was talked about through the law. And we're not saying that we're getting rid of it, but it's been things that happen. I'll say it's just, if you follow the channel, you kind of already know what we brought this out in the previous lesson, but it was through a divorcement. It was through a divorcement, and went through that divorcement that people became uncircumcised. Because this is not always talking about through flesh, but it's also it does have a reference, and Paul definitely shows it's a reference to flesh, but also through marriage, because you become uncircumcised when you become estranged from Israel, and certain people of Israel were put away from that.
Right.
So with that would be my last scripture. And I think it was, who was it next? Let me make sure. Hold on. Oh, Ken got put off. Okay. I think it was Tanzania. Was it you next, or it was you?
Ken's still here.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ken, it's your turn then, bro.
Con. I want to bring out Sirach 2. Start from verse.
You can go Tanzania.
Ken was good next. My bad. I
Go
ahead, bro.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm gonna go after you.
All right, I'm gonna bring from Sirach 2 from the top, and I'm gonna go all the way to verse 18.
All right, let me share the screen first. Hold on. I'm going to share screen real quick. Oh, I'm sharing screen. Okay, my bad. I'm tripping. All right, you said Sirach 2?
Yes, sir.
And what verse you starting at?
From verse 1, going all the way down.
Great. What verse you starting at? All right, go ahead.
All right, from the top, it says, "My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation." So you feel me? Every time that we're being tried, you feel me? You just can't just give up. You feel me? You knew what it was. Our forefathers knew what it was, and they believed in him each time. And it says, "Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and may not haste time of trouble. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest increase in thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take thee cheerfully." Remember earlier was reading in Maccabees how the woman, being her sons being put to death, she was over there joyous, saying, "I know it's for the Lord. I know I gotta endure." "And be patient when thou art changed to a low state. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable man the furnace of adversity. Believe in him, and he will help thee, like Daniel. Order thy way aright, and trust in him. Ye that fear the Lord, wait for his mercy, and go not aside, lest ye fall. Ye that fear the Lord, believe him, and your reward shall not fail. Ye that fear the Lord, hope for good, and for everlasting joy and mercy. Look at the generations of old, and see, Did ever any trust in the Lord and was confounded? Was Abraham confounded? He trusted in him. He almost killed his own son.
Whew.
Or did any abide in his fear and was forsaken? After all these years, did he leave us? No, he's still with us. Of whom did he ever despise that called upon him? For the Lord is full of compassion and mercy, long-suffering and very pitiful, and forgives sins and saveth in time of affliction. Woe to thee, fearful hearts and faint hands, and the sinner that goeth 2 ways. Woe unto him that is faint-hearted. Everybody don't have faith.
Faint-hearted, you get scared out of anything. Anything you hear, you get troubled. You see something in the news, you be like, oh my gosh.
It's over with.
Oh yeah, it's the end. It's the end. No, that's like, faint-hearted.
Like the what's the name? The baby formula shortage right now.
Right. Mothers are struggling and running from left and right, trying to figure out how they're gonna feed their babies.
Going state to state, looking for baby formula.
And I mean, I'm not saying I don't know the woman's anatomy, but to know that the natural cycle is that we are fed from our mothers as a baby.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's just showing you how far much we removed from reality we really are. You know what I'm saying?
Way too much trust in man. You see what happens when you put trust in man? Man will fail you every time.
Fails you every time.
Facts. It's a whole fact, right?
For he that believeth not, therefore shall not be defended. Woe unto you that have lost patience, and will ye do when the Lord shall visit you? They that fear the Lord will not disobey his word, and they that love him will keep his ways. They that fear the Lord will seek that which is well, pleasing unto him, and they that love him shall be filled with the law. They that fear the Lord will prepare their hearts and humble their souls in his sight, saying, "We will fall in the hands of the Lord and not to the hands of men." Like the woman in Maccabees, her son said, "Man, I ain't eating that pork, man. I'm gonna listen to the laws. I don't care about your laws. I'm gonna listen to the laws of my fathers, because after all these years, they ain't fell him. So what would I listen to you out of? For all his majesty is, so is his mercy."
That's fire, man. That's a whole fire chapter, bro. And it's a thing. I'm gonna be real. Brother Tanzania loved getting into Sirach, and we can see that this is something that he really is harking on. Because I don't even think it said faith in this chapter, but this is all faith.
All faith.
This is somebody who's really harkening on, man. This is a beautiful chapter, and I'm glad you brought this up because I'm gonna put this in my archive now.
Yeah.
Facts. That was beautiful, bro. Definitely. You had anything else?
I had 2 more Sirachs for me. Sirach 10 and Sirach 17.
You said Sirach 10?
Huh.
I'm gonna get it on another I can get it on another I guess I can just get it on here. Sirach 10. Let me get it right here. All right, go ahead, bro. You got it. What verse you starting at?
Verse 3.
Okay.
An unwise king destroys his people, but through prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. The power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over one that is profitable. In the hand of God is the prosperity of man, and upon the persons ascribed shall he lay his honor. Bear not hatred to thy neighbor for every wrong, and do nothing at all by injuries practice. Pride is hateful before God and a man, and by both the one commit iniquity. Because of righteousness dealing injuries and riches got by deceit. The kingdom is translated from one people to another. Why is the earth and ashes proud? There is not a more wicked thing than a covetous man. For such as one selleth his own soul to sell, because while he liveth, he casts away his bowels. The physician cut off a long disease, and he that is today a king, tomorrow shall die. For when a man is dead, he shall inherit creeping things, beasts, and worms. The beginning of pride is one departed from God, and his heart is turned away from his maker. When you have pride, you don't got no faith in God.
Yo,
Right,
I was just,
you have faith in
I'm
yourself.
glad you said it. I was literally about to say it. So you already hit it nail on the coffin. Yeah, go ahead. Got it.
For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that has it shall pour out abomination. And therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. The Lord has cast down thrones of proud princes and set up the meek in their stead. The Lord has plucked up roots of the proud nations and planted the lowly in their place. The Lord overthrew countries of the heathen and destroyed them the foundation of the earth. He took some of them away and destroyed them, and had made the memory to cease from the earth. Pride was not made for man, nor furious anger for them. They are born of a woman. They that fear the Lord are sure seed, and they that love him are honorable plant. They that regard not the law are dishonorable seed. They that transgress the commandments are deceivable seed.
Before you move on, I saw this verse earlier today. I screenshotted it actually. Brother posted it, and this verse meant a lot to me because it was literally saying, man, those that reverence the Most High's commandments, those are going to be seen as a sure seed. Not saying that all of will make it, because I don't know the Most High process of elimination. I don't know that, but we see a lot of people teaching against the Most High's laws, and they'll say they're in the truth. We're not talking about Christians or anybody in Christianity. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people that claim to be Israelites and everything, and they teach against the laws or try to find ways to wiggle around it, which I'm not saying we all have it all figured out. And it's stuff that I can admit I don't have figured out when it comes to the law. But this shows that you sitting up here trying to disregard it and just act like it doesn't exist. That's gonna literally make you a dishonorable seed. When you transgress the commandments, that's deceivable. But guess what? Most of these people who do these things, even if it's in ignorance, sometimes guess what they are mostly doing? They're teaching. So you're not doing that just for your household or just for you, but you're doing that for somebody else, because we know Israel, man, and these. And what's the scripture? What you say earlier? Every wind of doctrine.
Oh yeah, don't be
every wind of
doctrine.
So we fall under everything. Somebody come out tomorrow and say, "Man, you can't eat no pumpkins," because of some reason.
You can't eat
pumpkins. Like, that's real though. That's really real. You can't eat sea moss.
Yeah, that's facts, bro. That's facts.
Yo. That's what it be, man. What you talk about? You eating beet? You talk about a beet that grow in a potato, brother? You can't eat that. Hello, like it be
going off, brother.
It's really real though. Like I'm using funny examples, but I'm actually
it's real life.
That any doctrine that brothers come up with, you're gonna see about 10 or 12 Israelites like that post.
Yep.
They just following after it. And I just liked it because it came on my bro.
Right, no.
It's because you don't have any discernment. I'm not liking something I don't agree with.
Right.
Or I'm not saying that if I agree with it, I'm gonna like it, but I'm just saying, like, it's just, bro, it's a people, and you'll see them under the comment sections, fire emoji and all that.
Crazy.
You don't even know you being deceived.
Led straight to a ditch.
Man, it's crazy.
You're gonna be looking to your left hand, right hand, and figure out what's going on. I trust you, brother. I trust you. You lead me the right. And that was your fault right there. You put your trust in man. You didn't put your trust in the Most High. Now look at you.
No faith in the Most High's word. Because what you man, go ahead, bro. My bad. I ain't gonna keep on getting into it. You got it. Verse 21.
The fear of the Lord goes before obtaining of authority, but roughness and pride is the losing thereof. Whether he be rich, noble, or poor, their glory is the fear of the Lord. It is not meet to despise the poor man that has understanding, neither is it convenient to magnify a sinful man. I'm gonna end it up there. And this one, yeah.
Okay. Which one? What verse you want to go? I mean, what book you want to go to?
Sirach 17.
That boy loves Sirach. I'm telling y'all.
Sirach has a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely full of wisdom.
Yeah.
Definitely full of wisdom.
It's a really good book.
I don't know why I did that for me, but whatever. Let me see if I could read the whole thing. Man, they playing. All right, here we go. All right, what verse?
From the top,
Go ahead.
it says, the Lord created man of the earth and turned him into it again. He gave them few days and a short time, and power also over the things therein. He endured them with strength by themselves and made them according to his image, and put the fear of man upon all flesh, and gave him dominion over the beasts and fowl.
As we got into earlier,
They received the use of the 5 operations of the Lord. In the 6th place, he imparted them understanding, the law. And the 7th speech, an interpreter of the cogitations thereof, counsel and tongue, and eyes and ears and heart, gave them to understand.
yo, that go, and that's, I'm glad you brought this out, because that go into they got eyes to see and they got ears to hear.
Mhm.
But they can't hear.
They can't see or understand.
Man.
Yo, that's fire.
That's
Look at the
deep.
next verse. Go ahead and read that.
Withal, he filled them with the knowledge of understanding, and showed them good and evil.
Mm.
He set his eye upon their hearts, that he might shew them the greatness of his works. He gave them the glory of his marvelous acts forever, that they might declare his work with understanding. And the elect shall praise his holy name.
Mm.
Besides this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for inheritance.
Mm.
He made an everlasting covenant with them, and shewed them his judgments. I'm gonna end it there.
Man.
Yeah, that's a bro. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
That was very fire. And I'm telling you, like, because I got things running through my head just from class earlier today. And it's, yo, I can't wait for it. All praises to the Most High, for real, man.
All praise to the Father.
All praises. So yeah, man. Kent, I believe you up if you wanted to. Is he still in here? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm still here, guys. I'm
All
still
right.
here.
Did you got your verses ready, or how you wanted to go about that?
Oh, I got one. Book of Judges with Samson.
Uh-oh.
Book of Judges. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
With Samson.
Give me 1 second. I just want to exit out a couple of these tabs real quick. What chapter in Judges?
Chapter 16. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, pretty much, obviously the story with Samson and Delilah, and Delilah, she was adamant to find out, the cause of his strength, cause of Samson's strength, and once Samson finally told her the cause of his strength, obviously it came from his locks. We know that the Philistines are going to use him as a sacrifice to Dagon, their pagan god. And where we see here, Samson goes out to the Creator to deliver him to the hands of the Philistines. So, with his faith, if he didn't even know what went down with him, they poked out his eyes. Obviously, they cut his hair, and there's all sorts of things, and they mocked him. He still had faith in the Most High to do the will. And right here in chapters, well, I can't even go to the screen because if I have to go to the screen, I will have to come off. But I'm glad you did this on 16. So chapter 16.
Wait, you said what verse?
You can basically start. Keep going down. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna come find it. I'm gonna come find it for y'all.
Oh no, that's good. I just wanted to also just reiterate, this lesson is about where is your faith. And so again, we know that if you're tuned in, most likely to this channel, that this is not your first time ever. We believe this is not your first time ever running into an Israelite video or understanding who the Israelites are, or the scriptures, and you have faith that you are Israelites. So we would, this is for those who are actually aware of it. But those who are, new also, if you believe, if you came across information and you believe you are Israelite, you know what I mean? This is a scripture, a lesson for Israelites. And what we asking is, where's your faith at? As far as do you have it or not, but what level is it on? And can it be strengthened in these last days? So it's just a food for thought lesson that we doing. Again, you can check all our other lessons out, and we're gonna have more lessons like this coming out because we think these things are needed more than certain doctrines, or sometimes we may focus on flesh a little too much. And I mean, it's cool and everything, but the main focus in the scriptures, it wasn't really of flesh, but it was of being faithful to the Father.
Yep.
Because as the wife of the Father, which we are, we need to be ready for that, for the bridegroom. You know what I'm saying? For that marriage.
And that's faith.
Absolutely.
And that's having, that's having faith. And that's, for one, being obedient, being submissive, and being able to have that head rule over her. As a man, that's what a man wants from his woman.
Right.
As we understand in these scriptures, that's what the Most High wants from his woman, which is his nation, which is to be empowered. So you got to still be submissive. What you want your woman to be doing, you should be doing as a man. I'm saying as a man. If you want your woman to be doing that, then you need to be doing that for the Father. That's
right.
A fact.
Right.
That's a whole fact. Nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. That's how it's supposed to be. Get out of the colonial mind state and all of that. As what I said was weird, because it's not. There's nothing weird about what I said.
Right.
That's what it is. You'll call it. You'll claim to be an Israelite until you got to be in a Western way put as a woman, and then but you got to understand how the power of authority works, man. It's when you start to understand the culture, you understand it a little bit more. But that's what our job is to do, is to bring out the culture, the scripts, and tie them in, and with linguistics, because we will be getting to that too. It's gonna be bringing the culture and the scriptures and everything alive. You found out yet, brother? Did you find out yet?
Yeah, verse 28.
Oh, verse 28. Okay, cool. But yeah, all praises to the Most High. You said verse 28, right?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Oh, you me read it?
If you want, you can read it, because like I'll have to go to a different screen.
Oh no, you straight.
How do you share it? How do you do that? Share the screen. How do you share the screen?
Oh no, I think I just got power to share the screen right now or something. I don't know. I mean, it should be an option at your key or your bottom of your screen, but if you don't see the option, it's
cool.
I
see.
Okay, cool. But it says, in verse 28, it says, and Samson called unto the Most High and said, "Oh, Most High, remember me, I pray thee, and strengthen me. I pray thee only this once, O power, that I may be at once avenged of the Philistines for my 2 eyes." It says, and Samson took hold of the 2 middle pillars upon which the house stood, and on which it was borne up, and of the one with his right hand, and of the other with his left. And it says, and Samson said, "Let me die with the Philistines." And he bowed himself with all his might, and the house fell upon the masters and upon all the people that were in. So the dead in which he slew at his death were more than they which had which he slew in his life. And then it says in verse 31, then his brethren and all the house of his father came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zorah and Eshtaol in the burying place of Manoah, his father, and he judged Israel 20 years.
Even with what was going on, Samson could have lost faith easily.
That's a
You know what I
fact.
mean, can't see. The Philistine people mocking him, making fun of him. They tell him, call out your God to help you. You know what I mean? Call out your God to help you. And he called out the Creator. And even though he was in the position he was, he had the faith. And if he didn't, like I said, if he didn't have that faith, the Most High would never help him.
Yep. At the end of the day, he accomplished what he was meant to do, was to defeat the Philistines.
Absolutely.
Through faith, he was able to do that. Even though, he fell into sin and temptation, and he was judged for that. But at the end of the day, at the end of the day, through his faith, he was able to accomplish what he was born to do.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Man, I really do. And this is the thing about a lesson like this. Think about a lesson like this. Let me get that. Hold on, give me 1 second. So think about a lesson like this. It doesn't have to be just a part one. That was a couple examples. This would be something that we may bring out again, in the future. So it's definitely, one of those things. If y'all like lessons like this, let us know in the comment section. If y'all have suggestions on lessons that we can do, that'll also help out too. You know what I mean? Because we want to touch on every aspect. We got brothers in here. Son of Yah, this brother's a historian. That's a fact. Like a young historian.
We'll fire. I gotta give it to you, bro.
But he getting love.
All praise to the Most High.
Yeah,
word.
All praises, but getting love from the continent about the stuff he's bringing out. Not a big. You know what I'm saying? He has his following for sure, but you know what I'm saying, it's not like a big following like certain other Israelite figures, I guess you want to call it, people. It's not such. It's not like on that level, but its information is precise and it's really true. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's cut. And as we grow together as brothers, the information that we all collectively bring is gonna be crazy. It's gonna be really wild. And we gonna I want to say something too before. It's just been on my spirit, and I know we at the end of it. Brothers really gotta focus on, and when I say this, I'm not saying it like having sex with multiple wives or nothing, but nation building. And I'm talking about real nation building, like the stuff that we talk about, bro. About building communities up for real and really doing these things, because, man, I really noticed, yes, it's definitely good to know who the Israelites are, and it's good to know who the nations are. That's a very important part of the Bible. I'd never take that away. But yo, bro, I don't see nobody from One West, and I mention this not to, I'm just saying who's in the community. One West, a lot of the Negro onlys, even OT onlys.
OT only, straight UT,
I don't see
Christian apologist.
I don't see none of them really talking. And I say, and I'm gonna say his name too, because I've known him to I know them to talk about it a lot. Divine Prospect was probably like one of the ones that talks about these things. Other than that, I don't hear about nobody talking about communities and actually building up anything. Okay, wait. I got another brother. But what I'm trying to say is the lessons that come out is not showing these things. You may talk about it with your words, but we don't see it, like, you know what I'm saying, it being produced. like right now we do it behind the scenes, and we need to bring it, I think, forefront eventually. Right now we working out the details and everything about where we gonna have everything at. But basically what I'm trying to say is, man, yo, anybody who knows about the Israelite community knows that we believe that the blacks are the Israelites. If you believe more than that, then that's cool too. But whatever. We're talking about what we gonna do next. We know who he is. What's the next step?
Right.
Let's stop the division, because we starting to divide in ourselves. And I'm not talking about by doctrine. I'm talking about by like just different. I mean, well, I guess it is doctrine because it's different understanding. So yes, it is doctrine. I'm tired of stopping that. I'm starting to look at, man, like I don't even like the concept of the word Pan-Africanism, but because I feel like it's very dangerous. If you start to know about
that word can be many things though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's it could be really considered dangerous. So I'm not trying to get up into that. And right, exactly. Hold on, let me. So yeah, our people need healing for
That's
sure.
the main point.
Absolutely.
Right
It's like, yo,
absolutely.
That's the main thing.
I really feel like we really need to just start focusing on. All right, I'm gonna say this, and this will get my point across. All right, so I was talking to the brother Kefa earlier, and I was saying our people, and when I say our people, I'm not talking about the Israelite community necessarily, but even them, some of them are even included in what I'm about to say. We follow after the white man so much. Like from his languages, from his ways and everything. And I'm talking about continental too, because they do it too. Why we don't follow after the white man when it comes to imposing himself on African culture?
Right.
Because that's what they do. That's what they do. They impose themselves on African culture. That's a fact.
I don't see too many white folks at Igbo weddings.
You feel me?
Right.
And they not just there in attendance, but they actually are part of it. They are actually the groom.
Right.
Right. Oh my God.
So why we don't see us impose? If we're gonna do everything a white man do, let's do that.
Right.
Let's impose on African culture, even though that's our own culture. I'm just saying, like, y'all want to do everything else that the Europeans are doing except that.
South Africa. And that just shows generation after generation of brainwashing.
That's
of that
all
division
I'm saying.
that the white man has done to our people to try to separate us from our homeland. It's Stockholm syndrome. At the end of the day, Stockholm syndrome. You're so comfortable here in America, you can't see yourself going back home. You're literally prisoners of war. You this is not your homeland. So it's like, and you got foreigners and Europeans going into your home continent, learning the language,
learning the language.
Not learning the language, but speaking the language with. I'm not saying it's with a compared to us in the diaspora, a heavy accent.
Yes.
Where they sound like they've been here for a very long time.
And they're pretty good with it.
They good with
I don't even want to.
Man,
if you see my face, I have to admit that they're pretty good with it.
So why would we sit up here and that's what I'm saying. Why we sitting up there and letting that happen, bro? Not saying that we gonna prevent it, because that's what it is. But at the same time, we letting that we sitting up here and we just cool with English or cool with, man. Stop the madness, bro. If you think you're gonna be able to really fully understand these scripts with just James Strong, it's dead for you, bro. It's really dead for you. That's a fact, though. It's not, bro. I still go into James, bro. It's a good tool. I'm not trying to knock it as a tool, but don't sit up here and think that that's the only tool that's out here.
Right, you're right.
That's not it.
It's many different avenues where we can get.
Bro, I used the tool today. I was bringing out culture to a woman that was new to the truth, a continental from Liberia. I was bringing it out. I was using it. It's a good tool. but it's not the only tool. What I told her, she was like, what do you suggest I do? I say, well, you don't know your native tongue like that. You rusty in that. Go learn that. Because she come from the Mono people, which are what Will, son of y'all brought out. They are the Mande, and those are Israelites.
Right.
These is who the Israelites are. And the thing about it is she needs to go. I told her, if you want to learn your tongue. You got the resources, your mother right there. You feel me? We gotta get back.
Especially if we saying these people Israelites, there will be some type of, preserved, language from that parental Israelite language that they brought into Africa. You know what I'm saying? So studying the language would be very important, especially when it comes to looking at the Strongs and the definition of words, comparing it to what we see in modern Hebrew and what our, African Israelites has it as in their perspective. So it's definitely good at learning languages for sure. That continental languages, rather.
That's a fact, man. So that's all I had. That was on my mind. That was on my spirit. I wanted to share that. The brother said, tell them language is key and unlocks gems. And we have to understand, bro, every day we gon' if we're gonna unlock these gems, man, we gotta step up that level. And I know sometimes bro, it's hard for me. I be in class struggling sometimes because it's just too busy in my week. I don't have enough time to study. But bro, taking that little time to be able to punch through a little bit and staying consistent with it. Like the brother Tanzania. Well, how many languages you know, bro?
3, but I can speak 2.
That's what I mean.
See,
that's real. That's real life right there. If you put the Bible in any of those languages, it's gonna be smooth for him.
Right.
I'm gonna start next week.
That's what it's about. And you gotta get on your teacher stuff too in the next years, bro. You gotta be bringing it out in the Swahili, bro.
Oh yeah.
If you start bringing out the Swahili, I'm following, bro. I'm telling you. Yeah.
I'll start next week.
You say you gonna start next week?
Yes, sir.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm following you, bro. For that.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's beautiful having my brothers. These are my brothers, my everyday brothers right here.
Facts.
This is our first lesson, and we're gonna bring out more. It's gonna be more, just little like bread like this. You know what I'm saying?
It's good.
And we're gonna keep on bringing it out. So
facts, and all the brothers welcome to come, man. All the brothers that we interact with every day.
Yeah.
This is our platform. You know what I'm saying? So we all to come build.
Right.
So you said
quick question, y'all.
Swahili.
Say no more.
You said what, bro?
You think we should do a lesson on grooming?
On what?
Grooming, hair, and facial, because I know that having
okay. So now that's a lesson.
Having a beard is very, it's culture, and that's one of the things that.
Okay, if you want to do that, I was just talking to Davi or System Sarah about it. I was asking her in class. I was like, "Can you actually send me sources of pre-colonial hairstyles for the Eves?" And she was gonna send them, and she was like, "Understand that locks that we have were actually traditional, and this is pre-colonial.
It's
this is colonial. So we gonna actually bring this out. We can do that.
Beautiful.
We can actually, and I got some pictures already of the Igbos, but we can get into these other tribes and talk about pre-colonial and how it was and how was you got to understand when we talk about those that's in Africa right now in Sub-Sahara, a lot of those are Christians and they have Christian mind states. That's
right. Absolutely.
And so now they'll look at us with locks and they'll be like, a shame on us.
Right.
But this was actually traditional. So yes, that's a very good topic to do. And that's what I'm saying. Stuff like that kills the one West perspective of what they say. It's unlawful to wear locks. I know
they always say that.
The brother from Sakari, he could have got it from somebody else, but I think one of the first brothers to bring that doctrine into Israel, you know, American Israel. Anyway, to bring it into it was from Sakari though. One of the big figures in Sakari brought it out, and I'm like, yo, this could be easily debunked. So we can reach out to scriptures, but we're gonna talk about history too. So that's a very
We can literally, right? We can literally go to, you know, wall carvings of Israelites and see them with locks.
yeah, that's a fact.
But it's
Facts.
not
Facts.
It's not even a hard
Hey,
thing.
the Messiah supposedly have locks himself.
Samson
Right,
had
Right?
locks.
So
Yo, it's,
Samson had locks. King David had
Right.
locks.
yo,
Like we
Man.
go out a whole line.
but we can bring this. That's definitely a good topic. That's
What
that we can go historical.
One of the reasons I brought it up. One of the reasons I brought it up because it popped in my mind about a couple of years ago. Somebody I used to communicate with, and she used to, you know, say that, you know, we can't have our locks in a certain length. Even though she did bring out some scriptures, it didn't stick because I don't think she understood the magnitude of what she was reading. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and like I said, even in a culture when someone dies in the family, you would cut your beard, you would cut your locks. You know what I mean? So that you can still see back home that our people still do. But
Right.
yeah, as far as like you know, wearing our locks traditionally, it's not a problem. It's not a sin. It's not against, you know, it's not against our culture. I tell a lot of our brothers and sisters to sport it, to wear it, if they could do it. If you can, it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as far as for men, it's in our culture to keep our beard, you know, if it could grow. Because I'm not gonna say
Right.
everybody could grow their
And why
beard,
you-
but, you know what I mean? So that's very important. That's also very important in our culture that they try to diminish from us. Because if you look around, a lot of us don't keep their beards. You know what I mean? Because in the workplace, it says, you know, got to be clean shaving and that sort of thing. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
And even if we look at our Rastafarian brothers, man, you know, the Rastafarians, they claim they say that they are Israelites, and these are people that live in the woods in Jamaica, and even they have locks, they have beards, and they say that they follow the Nazarite laws.
I was just about to say that they
Right.
really follow that vow for real.
Right.
And
And a
also
lot of
Rastafarians
those,
out here in Brooklyn, New York, they really
Right.
follow that vow.
and a lot of the Rastas are Khan, you feel me? So it's just more and more connections, especially with their hairstyle.
Man.
So it gets deep. It gets deep.
Yeah, it
If
gets
people know.
deep. And so
They don't drink, they don't eat pork, certain flesh that they don't eat, and that's part of our culture. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that's a
Plus our hair locks naturally. Like
yeah,
you
Nax
put some water
naturally.
in it.
So 40 days in the wilderness. What do you
Oh,
think
yeah.
that look like? What do
Right.
you think that looks like? I
Gonna
don't
be mad?
understand what you.
yo, bro, I wouldn't be surprised. It would look like your hair, bro. For real,
That's
for
what
real.
I'm saying. Like 40 days in
Right.
the wilderness. What do you think that looks like? You know, he didn't go in there with a comb, bro. That's just like, you know, be honest, like,
They had to make combs.
Right,
Looking
right.
now.
right. So the brother said there's people saying it comes from Hinduism.
That's a lie.
This is a one West teaching right here.
Also, one verse
And
teaching,
that's-
man.
and that was-
I've heard that before.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. The brother who brought it out, the bald brother that brought it out, and the Sakari, the Sakari cap. You feel me? He
The ball bro, nah. He
yeah,
didn't bring
no,
that out.
it's a video. It's a whole video. It was like right. I probably was in the truth probably like 2-3 months, and I seen that, and I'm like, yo, bro, stop playing with me right now.
The ball.
But you got to remember, I know it sounded like I wasn't in the truth for a long time, but I had quit my job, and that's all I literally was doing was studying the Bible. So 3 months of that, I
Right.
was kind of like,
Right.
man, stop playing with me right now, bro, because you playing with me right now. So that's what I meant when I was saying that. And he brought that lesson out, and I watched that lesson from the first minute it aired until the last minute he was on there, and I watched it again, and I wrote down everything his points was,
Mhm.
and I debunked it. And matter of fact, where Tazaraf? Oh, he got off. Tazaraf, man, it's a funny story about that with Tazaraf, so he's gonna be a part of that lesson too, man. We're gonna get into that, but yeah, so that's where it comes from. That's what they say. Hinduism, that's where he went, because he started talking about some Hinduism. And the brother right here, he says locks are holy. And
Facts,
this is the
bro.
thing,
Yeah.
Facts,
this
bro.
is the thing.
Mario. Facts.
This
Facts.
is what our people was wearing. I mean, we can see it all throughout Sub-Saharan and
Mhm.
pre-colonial. We're talking
Matter of
about
fact, look at you can tell by the tablets of all this from Babylonian, Assyrian relief, the Nati knots. That's like, come on, it's all there.
It's
Right.
all there.
It's all there, bro. You know what I mean, you can't defeat that.
that's a fact, man. So that's definitely a good topic to touch on. It was definitely a sensitive one for me back then. So yeah, it's definitely one we can definitely touch on, because there's probably some brothers that's out here. Do y'all remember though when the brother brought the lesson out, people was cutting their hair? Do y'all remember that?
Crazy.
Nah.
No, look, Ari, hold on, because hold on, let me just say this.
You
So
cutting
it was
my
the
hair.
brother in Sakari, man. The deacon, was Hakah. That's his name, right? And I mean, whoever sent this to him, because it was a fact. The brother brought out the lesson. And we was watching brothers like tagging him in the mirror. They was cutting off their hair.
Sad, man.
That's cult
That's
behavior,
wow.
bro. That's cult behavior.
I was just about to say
Really
that's how
cold
strong
behavior.
this doctrine is, bro.
Bro.
I don't want to go against my camp leader, bro.
Right.
They was really doing that though.
That's
That's
sad, man.
crazy.
No,
Yeah,
let me
no
just
word
give you
for
one
that.
example of what he was talking about, because he said when they talk about locks, they was talking about bread. Let me show you the example of the pictorial example that he used. He used Goldilocks as an example, bro.
What?
White. I'm gonna have to get the
Nah.
video.
But
It's late, bro.
I'm going to
It's
get the
late.
video, bro.
he showed E from them, didn't
Listen, a white woman, which is the Goldilocks is depicted as a white woman with straight blonde hair.
I did remember that.
That
though.
got anything to do with anybody that's in the audience or that's on the panel hair? What does that have to anything?
None of us have straight white hair like goat. None of us.
Yo, bro, they use that as an
Yo,
example.
what?
Why are you using Goldilocks hair as an example of our hair? It makes no sense.
People listen to him though.
People
He got all
still
wisdom.
listen to him.
That's crazy. That's the type of madness.
Randy
y'all
Moss.
We're gonna get the video, bro. I promise you. I'm gonna get this. I
Sad.
mean, it's the only way I ain't gonna get the videos if he deleted it.
Yeah.
That was a real factual thing. I watched the whole thing, so I know it exists. Like, I'm gonna go find it. It's on his page. It's gotta be.
crazy.
It's crazy, man.
That'd be a good lesson to go over. So we definitely should
Right.
do that.
Right.
That's facts.
It's a fact.
fact.
It's no, like, bro, it's certain people who should not be teaching them camps. Hey, what he say? Yeah, and it trap a lot of our peoples.
They do.
That's the
Absolutely.
thing, man. So yeah, man, it's been beautiful building with y'all on this, man. Again,
Word.
and that's what we want. Topics like that, bro. Kent, you brought that
Mhm.
out.
That was good.
That's a topic that needs to be talked about. Just a simple topic that has been taken, and brothers have cut their hair about that. Like
I mean, I'll
I
say
see
this: when a sister told it to me, like I said a few years ago, and I communicated with her, we text and stuff like that, talk to each other on the phone. When she brought that to me, I was just like, I didn't know what to say because you laid out the scripts. I'm like, I think you taking this out of context. I don't think it's an issue
Yeah.
how the length size we wear our hair. You know what I mean? I personally don't want to be. I don't want to pass my back because I was told that it's very heavy after a while. You know what I mean? But I don't even think it's even unlawful to even have it like that. That's hair. That's just how it grows.
Right.
So,
You know what I mean? So,
what it is.
yeah, I thought that was, I didn't know how to respond to her because I'm like, I didn't want to say, you taking these out of context. I don't think this is what he's saying because it would have been back and forth, something I didn't want. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think we should definitely do a lesson on that.
But yeah, so the beautiful thing about how we gonna do the lesson or how we do our lessons in general, like controversial lessons like that, is we'll actually bring the evidence that the opposing side said. We'll bring it.
Right.
We'll bring it in there. We're not biased here. We can bring your evidence up here, and we're then gonna show our viewpoint, and we're gonna show it through like depictions of ancient, ancestors. We're going to show it through scripture, and we're going to show it through, like we said, well, it's depiction still, but what I mean by depictions, I meant like statues and like on walls. But I'm talking about we're going to show depiction also with our pre-colonial ancestors. I have people that's literally from these different tribes, and when I asked them about the pre-colonial hairstyles, locks was a part of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to understand that the change has been made since colonization.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and people need to understand something that we talked about before. The word dreadlocks was not actually used as a negative undertone. You know how it is with us. We take everything that is negative with the colonizers and we turn it to positive. You know what I mean? So when they, like I said, you can have one block like all in, you know what I mean, one. So when they saw that, that's not their culture. That's our culture. You know what I mean? It's always been a Hermetic culture to grow braids, to grow lots. I mean, look at other Egyptians and other Hermetic groups. They still sport their locks. You know what I mean? Not too many of them really go out their facial hair, but a lot of them sport their locks and their braids and afros, that type of thing.
And just to speak on this one more time, right here, I put the comment back up here. It teaches that from Hinduism. Okay, cool. For one, we understand that our hair naturally does this. So this only is a witness when you look into the Hinduism meaning of it. It's only a witness as to our understanding because they do it through spirituality.
Facts.
It's only as a witness to we doing it through spirituality, given the whole law of the Nazarites.
Right.
It's like we made a personal vow to the Most High. I mean, I'm not saying that everybody who grow locks got to have everybody who grow locks got to be a Nazarite. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that was a way of showing it.
Right.
Was through the hair. So why wouldn't that be spiritual?
Right.
Y'all, we got to understand that, man.
And then I believe
you just cut that up just now.
I mean, but it's way more ways. But facts, man. You got it. You got it, Will.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I believe the ways of our ancestors predate Hinduism. If we take it down, and then down from there. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, facts. That's what I mean.
That'll
so
be
it's only
right.
It's only a witness to us. You know what I mean? It's only a witness to us. So yeah, man.
Even there was a part in Genesis where when Jacob, what was it? He put his head on the rock. How do you think he was able to sleep on that rock? His hair had to be nice and froish. You know what I mean? Or like that. How do you think he was gonna sleep on that rock? You know what I mean? That's another point right there.
That's a fact, man. And the Egyptians too, and the Egyptians themselves, because
they do it too.
Yeah, I think it came from them. So them too. It's only a speak of African people, man. And
they actually found it. It's like it's not too big. It's kind of like a little oval shape. You can tell that's fit for someone with a lot of hair. Right. Thank you. It's only fit for somebody to sleep on because, quite frankly, Caucasian or Asian people, they don't have thick, rough hair like we do. They don't. So that's not something a trait that they would want to pick up. You know what I mean? That's not something they would do.
Facts. So yeah, we're gonna bring all that into account for that lesson. We'll schedule it. I'm not saying it's gonna be this next lesson. I don't know what we got a couple of lessons. We're gonna figure out which one worked best for the next, and it definitely will be on the schedule on a to-do list for sure.
For sure.
And because right now we got this one, and we got one more. I think that's what we're working on, right? The different.
Oh, yeah, the and
Yeah,
Indian
different
slave trade.
slave trade. So yeah, we're gonna get into that too. That one may take us some time, so we might hop on this one because I want to get deep into that one. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah,
I want to get very deep into that one, so we're gonna get into that. But man, it's
Well,
been beautiful.
I tell a lot of people this. I never even knew about they even had a slave trade until about 3 years ago. Someone
That's what
put
I
me
mean.
onto it.
See?
I said, wait, what? And when you look at the year, I asked the person, so this happened before the transatlantic slave trade. They said about 1,000 years before.
Mhm.
People gotta
We're
understand
about
that happened.
that time frame.
Is from there and from what is it 5/14/2022. That's is still happening. That's what
Still
I'm saying.
going on.
Right.
Still
Absolutely.
going on. So we're gonna get into that too.
And
It's
just
gonna
to
be
throw
beautiful.
a gem out there, you know, a lot of those enslaved peoples that got taken over there, at some point they actually like overthrew the people and ruled for a certain period of time. So
Mhm.
that'll be something nice to bring out as well, just for you
Talk
all.
about Zion's rebellion, right?
Right.
Like in Babylon.
We're
Right.
gonna get into it, man. It's gonna be beautiful, man. That's gonna be a
Yo.
beautiful listen. I'm just, you know how we trying to get real in depth with it. So, you know, I ain't trying to generalize too much. I'm trying to bring out specifics. Because when we
Right.
do that, that's yep, exactly. Zion's, yep. It's gonna be beautiful, man. But it's been beautiful building with y'all today. You know what I'm saying? We about
It's good building with
10
y'all, man.
minutes too. So yeah, man.
Been really good.
Guess we can end this up, man. May the Most High bless everybody that's watching now or watch later.
Right.
And we'll get into the next lesson a little bit later, man.
Total for tuning in, everybody, and interacting with us throughout this live. And again, man, check us out next time we come, man.
Facts.
All praises. Appreciate
All
everyone.
praises, brothers.
All praise.
Salama, y'all.
Salama.